Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 157, ranking the PlayStation exclusives with me, George, and as always this week joined by Bobby. No, Bobby's sleeping off a hangover. Seb and RGT, who are Nathan Drake to my fat princess. How's it going, guys?
Doing really well, thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Well, as I said in the intro there, Bobby's not with us this week. I think he's once again living this celebrity lifestyle. I'm a little concerned that he's revelioed so many times that he's actually turned himself invisible. But he slithered in like a snake last week and he's slithered out like a snake this week. So, gentlemen, let's not mess around because today's episode is a behemoth. Right? It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Is
not
that how y'all say behemoth over there?
I don't even know how I say it anymore, Seb.
Are we back to the feaster and Bethesda?
Yeah.
I was about to say a behemoth was a strange sort of child of a bee and a moth. Could be quite a dangerous, stingy nighttime adventure if you're not careful. But I think we need odders to come in. So come in your little tykes, car, yellow roof, red body, white wheels, scooting with your legs like a Flintstone mobile. As I ask these gentlemen, what you been playing? And let's start with Seb. Give me a fast and loose overview of your gaming week.
All right, man. I know we got a big meaty show right on the top, so I'm kind of gonna rush through this. But I have been playing a game that I might think might be the indie game of the year, and yeah, it is. It is a game that
you do know this is a precursor to every indie game that you play.
No.
You're like the one-man hype machine. You build it up. What is this game, Seb?
This game is called Doomed to Hell, and it is essentially a twin shooter version of Hades. Oh my goodness! Like I
got my attention.
Oh, and so I booted this up after seeing the trailer, and I was just like, oh, okay, I kind of get what this is, and then I played it, and then like the general gist, it kind of flips itself in a different direction than the trailer like portrays itself to be, because like basically it's a twin shooter. You basically like knock out all the single like enemies that come at you. You're trapped in hell, just like Zacharias was in Hades, but like and the basic thing is it's a battle royale, so to speak, where like the devil himself comes and says, we're overbooked, last man standing rules, and the last man standing gets to go back up to earth. So you are trapped in hell, so to speak, and you have like it's levels just like Hades, and you basically get different guns as you progress through the levels. Just like Hades, like after the end of like one level or one room, you get an option of a power up after that level is over. So it might be like a power up of additional strength, additional speed, or additional defense, and then you move on to the next level. And after every 5 levels, you go to a shop room, and at that shop room you get you get to spend all the gold you've earned so far, whether it be like for a shotgun, for a assault rifle, for different things sort of like that. So it's almost like a twin shooter version to the T of Hades. And as you get like higher up through your run, like the guns get more crazy and the enemies get more crazy. And this has boss fights just like Hades. And I'm like, this is Hades almost to the T, except, not quite as like pristine and polished as far as an overall package as what Supergiant presents out. But if you like something that's on the smaller scale that has that same Hades DNA, then this fits that bill to the T. And I'm like, it's so much like Hades with that twin shooters like twist that it feels just different enough, but it feels so similar enough to where you're like, oh, this still scratched that itch. Like this feels like I'm playing Hades, except without like the art style, without that music that made Hades like the prestigious, polished product that it is. So I'm like, it just feels like a 2D indie version of an indie game,
Yeah, you are speaking my language, young man. What's that called?
It's called Doom to Hell, and I kid you not, I I was given. By the way, I was given the code for review by the developing team, and as soon as I started playing this, I had to stop after like an hour, and I sent them an email and was just like, I need to speak to the developers like immediately. I'm like, I need these guys on the single player experience podcast because like I think they may have made something special. If more people play this game, I guarantee that this game is going to be at the Game Awards this year.
What's that on? What format's that on, Seb?
I played it. I believe it's on everything, but I played it on Xbox Series X. But I know it's also a Steam game. I making sure that I don't misquote myself. Let me see.
Well, while Seb burrows down to find out the details for that game, RGT, let's keep things moving along. Yep. Tell me what you've been playing.
It's been a bit busy week, so gaming has been a bit lacking this week, which I know is terrible for a podcast host, but I have been a bit more legacy. I'm about, now we've got the new PlayStation update, you can see progress in percentage now. I'm about 82% through the story, I think, something like that now. So I'm getting towards the end of that. And I've also, this is really random, I dusted off me PlayStation Classic this week because that's been breathed upon, as they say. So
literally, or
yeah, I had to blow the dust off. No, that's been no. It was so I've got all MAME and everything on there. So I've been playing a load of old shooters on me PlayStation Classic, as only I would. So 1941, I've been loving playing that again on MAME. So I've been.
So you've hacked your PlayStation Classic.
Yes.
You filled it full of bar top tat.
No, it's got these are all games I own copies of, by the way. There's it's got, it goes up to about Dreamcast on there. It's got PSP on. It's got what we got: Dreamcast, PSP, PS1. It's got some. It hasn't got PS2 on, but it's got MAME. It's got arcade. It's got NES, SNES, Mega Drive, Master System, SG 1000. It's got Game Boy Advance, Game Gear. Yeah, that's all on there.
So basically, the shed compressed down into a piece of plastic.
Yes. Yeah.
No disrespect to the shed or the now bulging internal memory of the PlayStation 1 Classic, but quite a lot of tat you're not going to play. So,
yes.
So what made you zero down on these shooters? What Kool-Aid were you sipping at?
Because time's been limited this week, I thought I need to do some gaming. I love the old school shooters, and I love 1941. And I suddenly thought, I've got that on the my little Classic. So, and that's easier to have at home. Just put it underneath the big screen, and away I go. The only thing I have found, the PlayStation Classic controller, the lead is about 6 inches long, so I'm staring at a 65-inch screen from 6 inches away. Mm-hmm. It does tend to get a bit trippy on the eyeballs.
Pixels. What is it? Just like a USB female that you could female to male and just get a 6 foot long extension cord? Would that work for you, or is it is it bespoke connectors in there? I've never really looked at it.
You can use I have ordered another USB extension. I wanted to use because I've got one of the 8-bit do USB controllers, but they're not accepted on the PlayStation Classic. They're very funny. I think you can now get a dongle, but mine is a wired one, so I couldn't use that.
So you can hack it, but God forbid you use a controller.
Yeah, I think 8-bit do have done a dongle now, so you can use the wireless one, but I've got the wired one, so yeah, that isn't accepting that. So I've had to use the original controller. So I just need get me extender, and then I can save my eyeballs a bit from.
Mrs. RGT happy about your cord extension coming in?
Well, until she trips over and rips it out of the TV, yeah, she'll be fine. And volleys it into the kitchen, that'll be fine, yeah.
Needs an original Xbox breakout connector so she doesn't break her spine on the games room floor.
Yeah. But yeah, that's been pretty much me. I'm sorry, that's a bit of a weak effort for me this week. But it's just,
I'm gonna take you on a journey of intrigue and mystery.
As always.
So I played a bit more Hogwarts Legacy. I think I'm buttoned right up to the 90% of the way through. So, I think I'll wipe its face clean next week, which is a great feeling. I'm not going to rest too much on that. We've had some feedback on the Discord, you say you enjoy it and then you spend 6 hours slating it. And I think it's probably more unrealized potential and,
definitely.
sort of magic robbing moments. Some of the repetition is a little extreme, but yeah, other than that, I decided to burrow into a bit more Last of Us 2, burrow into a little bit more, well, dusted off Red Dead, didn't I? Yeah, couldn't help myself. Red Dead
What, the original?
Redemption 1 or 2?
2.
Oh,
This time
okay.
last year, I think I played through and finished 1, and for some reason, Christ compelled me to dust off 2. I just still, just a beautiful, beautiful game. And
One of my best memories of that game is when, sorry to interrupt, but when I played that game, I bought a strategy guide for that. And I went off and I spent 2 weeks in my real time just going off finding all the legendary fish. And I'd make my way up into the snowy mountains, find a fish, make a camp, get some food, hunt that fish out. And that was some of the best gaming I've ever done, I think, in memories wise. That was absolutely fantastic, that game. You could just lose yourself in that.
You talking about take my money. If they put the original Red Dead 1 in that Red Dead 2 engine, man.
They got to, haven't they?
I will say one thing. When I really loved Red Dead 1 when it first came out on Xbox and PS3. Going back to it last year, it feels empty. And it feels very much, even compared to a game like Bully, it was, because I played Bully and went straight into Red Dead 1, and it was kind of like, it was a bit lacking. And it was a bit 1980s arcade, as in the infill jobs that you could do, like throwing the horseshoes and bits and bobs. It didn't have that. I guess it didn't have the GTA Online cash behind it, which obviously bankrolled Red Dead 2 a fair amount. But the just the finishing details and the attention to detail and the characterization, you don't need me to wax on about that game, so I won't. Trying to think, I downloaded Baseball, but I didn't get around to playing it. A little bit more of a Gran Turismo fiddle about in VR as well, which was very rewarding.
Yes.
The more you sit down and play that, you go into the mode where you walk around the cars. Just really, really nice. But let's not dwell on this. Seb, have you got us the details of this indie gem that you've got?
Oh yeah, it's
Game of the
available. Yeah, it's available on PS5, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Xbox Series X and X. So pretty much everything.
Just remind us the name again so everyone can go and download it and get onto this hot tip.
Doomed to Hell, and I have a section now in the Discord where you can kind of see some of these. So I'll be posting my full review on that.
Nice.
Even more.
I have a little bit of an afternoon siesta. I wake up and all of a sudden the Discord's upside down. I don't know what's going on anymore, but if you ever needed a reason to join up, it's the indie and hidden gems section. Nice little review from both of these characters. Nice heads up to either dig into the eBay machine, dust off the loft, or get yourself on one of these hot marketplaces. While we're here, I'm feeling brave. I'm feeling like Fat Princess is going to get its throat slit about 10 seconds into the. So I think we can make up some time. RGT, if you're not prepared, get prepared.
I'm prepared. I'm always prepared. I'm always
RGT, yeah. He's like the Lone Ranger. Riding on down to bring hidden gems to me.
Beautiful.
Said, don't worry. I'm working on an equally as disastrous song for the indie gem.
I don't know if I'm worried in the other way or not.
I think you should be. It strikes fear into most podcasters. So I'd like to think you're quaking in fear. RGT, without any further ado.
Yes. This week's one, developed by Microsoft for the OG Xbox. And I think, to be fair, I say this is a hidden gem. I think if you're an Xbox fan in the day, I think you probably knew of this game and you might have even played it. But I think if you're new to collecting for the Xbox, it seems to go on the radar a bit. So I think this is an absolute must-have, this game.
It's a Fusion Frenzy.
No. This one is That's it. George is gone. This is an arcade flying game.
Arcade flying game.
So it's flying, but it's not a sim.
Is it launch? Is it the launch? Is it those backwards aeroplanes set in a post-apocalyptic future with islands in it?
Is it Crimson Skies?
It certainly is, yes.
Yeah.
Crimson Skies. And I think people know the game, but you never see many people playing it. That's a really good game. It's cheap enough to buy. It's got a good little story to it. Graphically, very good for the OG Xbox. I mean, you can pick this up $5 to $10. That's worth buying. If you're collecting for the Xbox now, or you started, this is an absolute must-have game for the original Xbox. That's an exclusive. You'll only get it on there. Really, really good game. And there's some, same again. I know I say it most weeks. It is something different. You don't get many story-based sort of games, especially with flying and in sort of an alternate sort of universe. Really good. And it's got that sort of steampunk vibe to it as well. Great game. If you see it, get it. Pop on eBay, and if you've got an original Xbox or you're starting collecting for them, must have.
Yeah, I also play. I mean, if you do get it physical, you can also play it on your Xbox Series X.
Exactly. Yeah. And get it upscaled, then even better.
Plays really good on that Series X.
8K textures the lot, baby.
Yeah.
There's a franchise they ought to revisit.
When you look back at the OG Xbox, they had some great exclusives on there that just they never followed up on, which is a shame, really.
For me as well, there's something about the sort of the graphical art style and the kind of look. Like there's something about that OG Xbox that just stands up. You get the PS2 ports as well, and they're like the sort of pro versions or the the One X versions. They look really good. I mean, I remember playing Full Spectrum Warrior on the OG Xbox and feeling like and then playing it on the PS2 and feeling like no.
Well, I play most of the Xbox for a CRT, and it looks stunning on the CRT. So I can only imagine what it looks like through a Series X. The upscaled, it must look pretty damn cool on a big screen.
Yeah, doing its damnedest. Okay, well, thank you both. Indie and Hidden Gems snuck in under the radar. I'm happy with that. I think we've completed our mantra. The next part of our mantra is the news. We scour the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, got my teeth in. I'm in the seat. I'm feeling racy. That platinum pop. Earning the platinum trophy on PlayStation is always a bit of an occasion. You've not only completed a game, you've probably gone out of your way to beat a range of additional challenges. For many, the plat is the nice cherry on top of an enjoyable experience, and they're very satisfying to pop. Now, though, Sony has gone one small step further to make them feel special. With the latest PS5 firmware update installed, the notification for unlocking the platinum trophy has been updated, as spotted by Twitter user @iBadDriverL. A platinum already has this, find me quick on Twitter. Like, oh, crikey, mate. Got to navigate through all of that. A platinum already has its very own notification sound, but now it also has a unique animation. It's only a small touch, but it makes the act of getting a platinum even more of an occasion than it was before. We're looking forward to seeing this next time the notification pops when we grab our next platinum. Well, I say our, I mean,
Bobby.
It's decades sort of separated my platinum pops. But gentlemen, what do you think to that? Just a little bit of that latest update, correcting some errors, fixing some things. One of the coolest things, obviously, apart from this new PlayStation Platinum Trophy pop, is the ability to update your controllers without sticking the wire in. Hallelujah.
Amen.
I feel like I've arrived in the 22nd century. There was nothing worse than sitting down for an evening of gaming and then finding out that you need to ferret around for that wire that you don't normally use because you've got a little docking stations. Then you're routing through and you're pulling out USB-C and then USB original and then USB mini and then boof. Oh, yeah, there's that thing that looks like a thing that goes in the thing. I'll use that. Man, it was a disaster zone. And then, you do one controller. You use that controller for a week or so, charging it. It's on the front of the charging port. No worries. Then one day you have a big gaming session. You run empty. So you grab the other controller. Not today, Panyo. You better find yourself that wire.
That's so true.
And now,
how many controllers do y'all have?
3 or 4.
Okay. And so y'all almost have, you said 3 or 4, George, so I'm assuming you have most of the colors by now.
What have I got? A white, black, a red, a purple.
Okay, the best colors then. Okay, and what about you, RGT?
Just the OG colours I've got when I got it. I've still got the original 2 controllers. Yeah, I've always wanted to buy the coloured ones, but I'm like, as a collector, I'll think, I'm gonna buy a new coloured controller, and then I flick on eBay and see a PS2 game I've always wanted, and end up buying that instead.
Fair play to you.
I'm terrible for that.
I think currently I've got more controllers than I've got sense, and certainly more controllers than I've got brain cells. So
I tell you, I don't know if I'm right with this. Maybe I didn't notice this before, but I play with a friend of mine once a week. We play FIFA. I don't mention it on the show because George hates it. But, yeah. I noticed this week when we played, where your light goes around your touchpad.
Yeah.
The light around it.
Yeah, and obviously they do for FIFA. I'll be red, he'll be blue for player 1, player 2. But also I noticed now there's a little white light, and I had one on mine, and he had 2 little white lights on his to show player 1 and player 2. And I don't know if that's from the update of the controllers or whether that's something that's always been I haven't noticed. But I thought that's a nice little touch where you have that little white light show player 1, player 2, and I suppose they'll do more if you have a game where there's multiplayers or 3 or 4 of you on there. But I thought that was a nice little touch.
I noticed that too, and it feels like we're in the future, man. The DualSense right now is the best control on the face of the planet as far as like features go. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's a proper bit of kit.
I've noticed when I've been going back to the DualShock 4, starts to feel a little bit empty. And when I go back
feels
to the
lightweight, doesn't it?
When I go back to the DualShock 3, forgot in the beginning of the show, I've been playing a bit more Batman Arkham City. Thoroughly brilliant game. But that feels like that just
it feels like a cheap toy, doesn't it?
A few minutes in, you start playing, you don't notice it as much, and okay, fair enough. But on initial pickup, you're like, oh god, and it's got that element with the DualShock 4 as well. Especially straight after the DualSense, just feels so weighty. But when that feedback starts happening in the controller, the extra weight gives it the gravitas. There's no shaky or any of that, or sort of vast plastics vibrating. It's a very consistent and strong feeling in the controller. So you're right, absolutely kudos to them for that.
When I was playing on a PlayStation Classic this week, because that's just got it's a new version of the OG controller without the analog sticks. That's just your D-pad. And I was looking at it thinking, if I could imagine when I had my PlayStation, when I first bought that, where it would be with a controller now with the DualSense, I just wouldn't have believed it.
Well, you would have, because you'd be disappointed, because you'd expect the wires to be in under your fingernails, and you blacked out sort of in a coma-like phase, living a second life.
Matrix.
You're not imagining hard enough. You are just not imagining. I wonder if this controller's going to have like this nose wiping tissue. Like, no, get outside of the box. I wanted you to be Job from Lawnmower Man, not just like slightly rounder, more rotund, addicted guy to, fast food and penchant for video games.
You have high expectations, young man.
Yeah.
He's living the Jetsons lifestyle right now in his imagination. I just wanted to,
sure. If I'm thinking of the future, I'm thinking far out. I'm not thinking, a couple of cans of Pierre Dior's or whatever it is you were drinking.
Pierre Dior's?
You remember that movie Ready Player One? That he's living that lifestyle.
That's what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I didn't want to living my best 16-year-old life. Okay.
So news story number 2. Precious little pretty. During yesterday's, I'm sorry. Did I mess it up? Y'all just
swarming into the news like an angry bee, and then slapping me on the backside with the sting of a golem. Impersonation was not something I expected to come. Wow. Okay.
During yesterday's NACON Connect live stream, the team at Dialectic Entertainment delivered a brand new trailer for its upcoming Lord of the Rings adventure, The Lord of the Rings Golem. While we still don't have a firm release date for it beyond 2023, the game looks like it's starting to benefit from the few delays. Sure, the concept of playing as Gollum still puzzles us a little bit, but we've warmed up to the project after seeing the latest story trailer. It looks as if things are coming together to deliver a unique, stealthy take on a Lord of the Rings title. Ultimately, the proof will be in the pudding once we finally get a release date and can go hands-on with this Lord of the Rings adventure. Here is the latest on what to expect. The Daedalic Untold
Daedalic.
Story. Daedalic?
I think that's how that's pronounced.
Daedalic? Okay. All right, cool. Untold Story was revealed today in a trailer featuring Golem's extraordinary adventures in the search for my precious. The original story takes you to several regions of Middle Earth where you can meet well-known characters in the books of J.R.R. Tolkien's. You need remarkable agility and guile to avoid dangers en route. Be a part of Golem's journey in 2023. Golem. Yeah.
I forgot all about this game.
Yeah, you know
I
what?
completely gone until I just read this. I forgot they're making a Golem game. Completely
Like a
forgot.
nuclear submarine, nothing, and then all of a sudden this massive behemoth pops up in the sea. And, you know, I've been up and down on my interest in Gollum, but it's been peaked recently. Let's just see what it brings. We haven't had, you know, a new take, an interesting take for a while. This is like a stealth. I almost see this a little bit like those imp games, you know, that you see kicking around. There was one where you could be like a little goblin or an imp. I talked about it before. It was like a take on Thief, but you were like this little medieval, like a little goblin sneaking around stealing things. I think it might have been called Imp. I can't quite remember. But I see that here. I just don't know. Gollum's an interesting enough character, but is he an interesting enough character for his own narrative beat to sustain
and why
a single player experience? Yeah. His inner monologue's going to be interesting for the first couple of hours where he's like, my precious, and he's leaping around. But after 20 hours of my precious, are you not going to just want to end this game?
Yeah.
Seb, what's your thoughts? Are you pumped for this or are you lukewarm at best?
You remember that game Styx? STYX.
That's the one I was. That's the one.
That's
I was
the
on
one.
About. Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
Yeah, I kind of get that vibe from this as well. But I'll give you. I'm going hands on with this game pretty soon, so I can give you my impressions then. So I'll be able to tell you a little bit about it then. But yeah, so far, just right now, not excited. But I'm hoping something will change my mind and I will be excited. But the stealth genre needs more representation in gaming. So more the merrier there.
To be fair, the stealth genre is for the patient gamer.
Sure.
I'm not totally sure it needs more representation in my library, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm that guy that just waits for the guys to line up and then just legs it and hopes that I've got enough damage to withstand the sort of pounding I'm going to get before I get to the next safe scene area.
I'm sure you don't play The Last of Us like that, though. I'm sure you go pretty stealthy on that, right?
Depends how sort of bolshy I'm feeling, if I'm honest with you.
Okay.
If you get a good run in Last of Us, you can be pretty hyper aggressive and get away with it. If you've got a brick in your inventory and you can lob that to displace them when your back's against the wall and then sort of go from encounter to encounter, because the sort of melee button is quite forgiving. I've noticed in Last of Us 2 specifically, you can it zooms you into the next encounter, even if you're quite some distance away. And as soon as you can get that button nailed, if they start getting shots in you, you're done. But if you can sort of live in that sort of in-between space of forcing the melees by just breaking the game a little bit, you can be reasonably aggressive in there. Especially
you can be very aggressive.
The full loadout.
You can be very aggressive.
Yeah.
There's people who have like their speed running and they do like aggressive playthroughs, like the grounded aggressive playthroughs where they beat the game in like 2 hours. It is amazing to watch. And they don't even like use bricks. They figured out like if you switch to like your bow and arrows and such like that, you can just impale people with arrows and keep it moving. It's just
nice.
It is like they figured out ways to just like completely utilize all the weapons in that game in a way that just looks gory in a beautiful way. But yeah, it's I highly recommend checking those speed runs out.
Okay, well, moving things along at a click here because we've got a midriff like a 40-year-old man that's sort of relaxed a little bit. I mean, just to avoid the cliche, I'll take the news because I'm a middle-aged man that's let myself go a little bit. But can you do us the next bit of news?
Yeah, Resident Evil Fortnite. Capcom characters from the Street Fighter and Resident Evil series have already joined Epic's Fortnite before, so it's no surprise to see more of the Japanese company's roster on the way to the popular Battle Royale. According to leaks this week via Fortnite fan account Hypex, Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield will both be added to the game as character skins in a future update. They would follow on from Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield's skins added in 2021. On a related note, Fortnite could potentially be getting a first-person mode in its next update. Apparently, you'll be able to freely swap in between this view and the original third-person perspective. That's interesting.
I mean,
trying to bring over a few of the FPS.
Trying to just keep that Fortnite beast. It's right now, it technically could appeal to everybody. And I think it's probably doing a good job of that. You know, they've took the non-building, they've given you a non-build mode. They're going to give you a first-person mode. The only thing next it needs, a little bit more military realism, and Boba Loeb will be changing his name. He'll be going dark in Tomato Town or whatever it's called.
Yeah. It's the biggest game in the world, just getting bigger and bigger. And pretty soon, you know, like they're giving people no excuse to basically play this game, whether or not you like third person or first person. You know, like this game has pretty much anything for everyone if you like that kind of genre. So, you know, it's just the biggest game in the world getting bigger.
Still snappy, still looks amazing, if I'm honest with you. It certainly, to me, it always felt like it was pushing all the systems it was on. And even now, you know, the PS5 and Series X and S versions, it looks super slick.
It's the greatest crossover game of all time now. I mean, that's undisputed.
It leaves itself wide open to be able to link up with anything and everybody. You know, you can be Master Chief in this. You can be Jill Valentine in this. You can be literally anything in this. Batman, The Flash, whatever. It doesn't matter who or what you're into. You're playing your character in this game. All the Star Wars tap that they've unleashed on us. It's
Rambo, man. Everything. Everybody and everything. Yeah.
Perfect. That would be my skin as a bush camper. That would be me, Rambo. That's down in the bush. Only heroes win. Only the heroes survive. Okay, last bit of news. Let's get this out there. Dreamcast Mini. Only you, dear listener, can make that happen. Well, maybe you needed to have bought a Sega Mega Drive Mini 2, but the Sega Mega Drive Mini 2 launched last week, and if you were lucky enough to snag a Japanese model, you might notice something interesting about the packaging. On the inner flap of the box, you'll find a web address / QR code if you're tech savvy, along with a 4-digit password. This takes you to an online questionnaire, which covers a wide range of questions, such as where you purchased the console, how you heard about it, and other mini consoles you currently own. So thanks, Gusukyu. The most interesting question relates to future mini consoles from Sega, asking which classic Sega hardware replica would you like to see next? Sega gives you the following options: the SC3000, the SG-1000/1002, the Mark III/Master System, the Saturn, the Dreamcast, the Mega Drive Mini 3. That's a mud hole that doesn't need stomping any further dry. Game Gear Micro Part 2, the non-micro Game Gear, arcade a la Astro City Mini. Interestingly, another question asks if a remake or sequel to a classic Sega IP were to be released, would you buy it? While other questions ask what you'd want from a revival series. Anyone who's listening that snagged one of these, if you don't go online on the website and do all that other good stuff with your QR code and tick Dreamcast, I suppose the completionist in me says we need the Saturn, but do you know what? Scratch that. Okay, forget all of that. Just give us the Dreamcast. Okay,
Dreamcast or bust, man.
Bada bing, I can see the T-shirt now. Seb's head as Dreamcast. But yeah, Metropolis Street Racer, Shenmue, NBA, the 2K series on there. Jet Grind Radio, Skies of Arcadia, the bangers after bangers after bangers after bangers after bangers. You know, we need it. Power Stone, Virtua Tennis, Daytona, Soul Calibur. The list
Crazy
goes
Taxi,
on.
Ready to Rumble, man. Let's go.
18-wheeler, Ready to Rumble boxing.
Yeah. With Afro Thunder. Oh.
And the thing is, as well, Sega are good at these minis as well.
Substance negates to style in the form of Ready to Rumble. Have you played that recently? I can't let this go.
Yeah, on the Steam Deck. Yeah.
I want to sacrifice Afro Samurai. Or whatever his name is.
Afro Thunder. Thunder.
Dude.
If the Genesis, if the Dreamcast and the PS2 would have given that a third installment at that point, he would have been a Super Smash Brothers character. Like, he would have been perfect for it.
Oh, do you know, Seb, some things I can agree with you on. Some things I can't. And that game needs burying in the lair pit. There's a deep cut from back in the day. Okay.
We are missing out on prime boxing right now. That's a genre that is sorely lacking in video games.
Send me your home address and I'll send you just a few copies of Fight Night on the PS3 or something.
I have it too. I have it.
That's enough. Right, that's enough. That's enough.
Nah. Be on the lookout, everyone, for Undisputed Boxing. That's coming later this year. It looks absolutely amazing.
That's a bit more like my cup of tea, but Ready to Rumble boxing? I had that on the N64, Seb, and it was awful. I then got a Dreamcast and upgraded so I could experience the next gen version. And it was still a porridge-filled mess.
Maybe I'll give it like a 30-minute review, this week, and I'll come back at you.
Please, I'm actually excited for that. I don't feel like it's held up that well at all. Anyway, the Dreamcast, to be honest, just give us a full library, and if that makes me happy, it makes you happy because it means you've got that, right? You've got it. You've got him.
All these games, all the games from all these systems are small enough. Just put out one device and call it the Sega Master device at that point, and just sell it like that.
What about the peripherals? What about San Diego Amiga, and what about the fishing reel?
I mean, sell them separately at this point. The people who are going to order it are going to order those separately.
That would be well cool.
Yeah, it feels like such a waste of time to do all these things individually. I'm like,
I've just had an absolute brainwave. Dreamcast needs to be online, and I mean online. Because that was the dream.
Power Stone and that online.
Power Stone online. Also, obviously, Fantasy Star online. MSR's got its updates, gives you back all the Shenmue passport functionality. Let's face
basically, it's the Nintendo Switch Online, but the Dreamcast version?
Yeah.
Okay.
The difference between doing it well and supporting all that stuff with a bit of backdoor code, or just banging out the weakest thing possible to cash in on nostalgia in a cheap plastic white box, I feel like Sega are probably going to take the latter option.
Yeah, for sure.
But saying that, I got the second Mega Drive 2. I've got the original Mega Drive Mini, and it is very good.
What appeals to me about
very, very good. They know what they're doing with those.
What appeals to me about the Mega Drive Mini 2 is the Sega CD, Mega CD support.
Yeah,
and that's cool. Because they've not really acknowledged that. It's almost like a dirty secret they've swept under the carpet. Well, that's their fault, That's their fault. But for me,
I've got most of the mini consoles, and the Mega Drive is my favourite one. I think that's the best list of games. Controllers are nice. The actual system's lovely. It is a perfect little mini with a little.
But let me ask you this question: you say all that, say all of that.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, you've already confessed what's perched underneath your TV at home.
Yes,
is the worst of all of them, the PlayStation 1 Classic. What strange sort of
because it's got
talking character
3,000 games on it. I'm like, that's quantity over quality.
y'all just need a Steam Deck at this point. Just get a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I might I might sell Wayne Ray to international child traffickers.
The Ray is going to be pissed.
Ray won't notice.
You call him Ray a negligent dad at this point?
He's that busy. If I steal my version of Wayne Ray, does it mean that your version of Wayne Ray is missing as well? I really want to start testing the Ray universe, the mythology. I need the cinematic Rayverse. I need to find out what stands up and what doesn't. If you take out one Sting, does it mean all of the Stings are down? If you take out one Ray, are they all down? If Trace falls, are all Traces fallen? I don't even know.
Just stick him on Vinted. Stick him on Vinted and just say, can you swap him for a Steam Deck?
Yeah. I could just imagine right now your version of Ray just hunting you down and hunting like the buyers down, like he's like Liam Neeson from Taken,
so
to speak. Yeah. I could just imagine it mowing everyone down in basically Europe. Just pop, 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 pop. I want my boy. Where's my boy?
Wow, like a redneck version of Liam Neeson's Taken. It says he's shape-shifting as well. I mean, it holds no bounds. Listen, if you want to share your thoughts on whether Ray could become the Liam Neeson of Taken, you know where to go. It's the Discord. New joiners this week was a joyous occasion. We all broke out in song in unison. It was like a I don't know, barbershop quartet almost. It's probably Seb's turn. Seb, if they're listening, they think, hang on a minute, George has completely missed the take on that news. He's got no idea that people want a Game Gear Micro Part 2 and not that Dreamcast drivel. Just because he's nostalgic for it, we're not. Okay. How would they be best placed to interact with us and let us know all of this?
Let's be real about it. Look, you can DM us on Instagram or Twitter at the Unofficial Podcast. You can also send your questions at theunofficialpodcast.com, or just go straight to the source. Just go to the Unofficial Podcast Discord. The link is in the description of the episode. Go there. You can talk with us. You can talk with us. You can ask us all kinds of questions. You can share your feedback. You can let George know if he's right or wrong about Ready to Rumble boxing. And, so that's the best place to go if we're being honest. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
We had a couple of corrections this week, didn't we?
Yeah, I missed a question mark off. So community
I made a big boob last week.
Really? What was this?
Yeah, Fat Zangief pulled me up on it.
What did he say?
When I done my hidden gem last week, when I done Deadly Creatures, I forgot the most important thing was the voice actors who are in the game.
Who are the voice actors?
Billy Bob Thornton and Dennis Hopper.
How on earth does such Hollywood heavy hitters end up in a backdoor looking game called Dangerous Creatures on the Wii?
Dust off your Wii, George. You need to do it. That's your homework this week. Dust your Wii off.
No,
I give Deadly Creatures.
Don't do it. Don't dust off the Wii.
Yeah, just let listen to me, young man. You dust off your Wii, play Deadly Creatures. Then I want you to come back on next week and say, RGT, I am deeply sorry because that is amazing.
I have a Wii U permanently set up.
There you go. You just need that disc. Deadly Creatures, bang.
All it's doing right now is making sure that plug works.
It's just occupied. Yeah. It's just collecting dust. Be real with you.
Stops dust collecting in it.
Let's be real. The Wii U could die too. We need to let the Wii U go. The Switch is all the games from the Wii U are on the Switch now.
I love the Wii U. I love the Wii U.
You and 15 other people.
I know,
15.
But we're very passionate 15 people.
Y'all are about the Wii U. Add me to that list. I'll die on a hill for a console I don't really care about. Bring it on.
But I like bad consoles, so you know what I'm like.
All right, George, you get a revival of the Vita or you get a Wii U too. Which one you going with?
That's unfair.
Is it? They're both failed consoles.
Well, I want a Vita too, and you know I do, and I think it would work well with the current ecosystem we've got going on. So, and don't give me no gimmicks. Just give me 2 shoulder buttons, okay, baby? Shoulder buttons or bust, baby. That's all.
Yeah. What's up? Let's go, George. Welcome to the dark side.
Boom!
All right. So
Hang on. Wait. German listeners, you now phenomenally represent over 50% of our audience on a week-to-week basis. I honestly do not know what we are doing to get such favor, but you're doing it. You're listening to the show, and I really super appreciate you. Thank you very much.
We all do, yeah, definitely.
I joke around a little bit, but like I said, if you want to join the Discord and you can get in the mix, or can create your little German speaking area, whatever it is, just join and communicate. And we want to thank you in person, each and every single one of you, for listening in and making us the behemoth of a European stroke worldwide show that we are. Currently standing across the whole of gaming podcasts like like a giant statue. And we're very grateful for that. Very, very grateful indeed. Again, if you do want to meet us in person, oh, yeah, we're not just a floating random voice on the internet coming out your car speaker, coming out your AirPods, coming out your bespoke unknown other make AirPod in your ear. Samsung earbuds or some of the drivel like that. Yeah, we're real people. And you can bring yourself along to OLL23 at Norfolk Showground on the, correct me if I'm wrong, RGT, but the 15th and the 16th of April.
Mm-hmm. That's the one, yeah.
It's around those dates. If you come a little early, stay a bit later, it's fine. You know, there's stuff to do in Norwich. There's a cathedral and...
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you like video games, podcasts, and reminiscing? I'm actor, video game writer, and total sweetie pie, Connor Savage McCabe, and on each episode of Call Me By Your Game, I sit down with a guest for an intimate look at a special game from their past. Did you and your dad beat Spyro the Dragon over the holidays? Or was Halo 4 the one thing that united your roommates during your senior year of college? Stories like these are what Call Me By Your Game is about. From video game content creator Janet Garcia to Hades voice actor Courtney Vinay's, I interview wonderful comedians and game industry friends about these memories. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and maybe someday you'll call me by your game.
Well, you could go to OLL's. They've got their own gaming cafes. You can pop in there and see them. Pop the Retro Replay Arcade. Plenty to do if you're a gamer.
Flex, all the sponsors. You know, Norfolk's biggest podcast, and none of us are from there, but...
yeah, we border at either side. But
we seem to represent it. Yeah, it's no man's land. It's perfectly safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're welcome. Grab your tickets. If you're coming from Europe, don't forget to get yourself a plane ticket. Right now will be a very affordable way of getting over here, but hotels are disappearing quick. If you're coming from the States, if you're that in love with the podcast, you want to come from America, I would question that. You know, I don't think we're that good. But you know, we're good, but we're not worth the transatlantic flight in an overstay in a Premier Inn on the outskirts of Norwich. And if you've never been to the UK before, that would be what's called a baptism of fire. You'd be slapped up the backside with a full English, a confusion as what black pudding is, and it's basically scab fried, and you know, a very poor coffee, no doubt, made with granules and passed off as being filter.
You're not selling us, George. You're not selling us.
No, you're not selling us at all.
I'm just trying to politely, as much as I would love to see an American cousin walk through the door with a UCP T-shirt on, giving it the bells and whistles, you know, probably with I don't know if you're allowed to bring guns, but if they've got guns, like a couple of holsters, like pow, 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 like a cowboy through the door. That's my impression of what an American would look like arriving in Norwich.
So basically, you think we're just Yosemite Sam, basically?
That's the American listener switched off.
We can't afford. Well, you know, we're that big in Germany now, we can afford that. You know, it's okay. But you know, I love everybody. What I was trying to do politely and in a slightly comedic way is to say that if you're, you know, I'm sure we'll get to America at some point in time, or maybe we can do something in more of a London location if we were to do another live event. But this one's in rural England at OLL23. I don't want to de-hype it, but if you're close in Europe or the UK, there's no better way to spend a weekend if you're Elon Musk and want to come and pop over on your private jet and land at the disused Norfolk airport, then you're more than welcome. So yeah, excited for that. Loads of people there. Kid Icarus, Adam Korolik, Ashens is going to be there.
John Riggs.
Yeah, got a big stack of retro to modern consoles to play on. Developers will be there. We'll be there, if you, if you haven't worked that one out yet. We're also going to record an episode there, hopefully, fingers crossed. If there's any technical issues, we may need to come up with an alternative. But Seb and Bobby are going to be there through the medium of satellite communication. So like a good old 1980s TV show, I'm going to get them to make sure there's at least a 5-minute delay so we can get that whole thing going on with, I think there's a delay. Outside broadcast type activity. But yeah, looking forward to it. Very excited. If not a little nervous right now. So if you're coming along, just, be gentle. It's not often we get out, especially in the post-COVID world. I don't think I've seen a real person in years now. Been speaking to the ghost of Mumsy for far too long. Shock horror lore update. Mumsy's passed. No, she hasn't. I just sort of said it. I couldn't help myself. Okay. The thing that most people have fast-forwarded to, and if you're listening, this is probably that moment where you go, oh, okay, he's finished dribbling on. Now this is what I turned up for. The PlayStation exclusives King of the Ring. Oh, yeah. Some big scalps have fallen in the preliminary outskirts of sourcing the PlayStation exclusives. I tripped over my bottom lip because Fat Princess wasn't in there. To be honest with you, I fell down the stairs in a tribute to pain because I doubt it's in there either. Seb's a pretty brutalist curationist. But I'm sure enough of the heavy hitters are going to be in there for us to be able to have a full-on ding-dong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Seb, but it's arranged in a King of the Ring / World Cup tournament style. Therefore, go. If you're into football, you can imagine that. If you're not, you've probably sniffed around wrestling. Probably a bit of a strong term for wrestling. But you've been in the periphery. You kind of know what a knockout tournament is.
Yeah, if you watch March Madness or any playoff basically system, you already know what this is. It's a single elimination tournament. I've assembled the top 32 franchises and or single games of the PlayStation exclusives from the late PS3 era and up. So some Vita games are going to be included, but mostly PS4, mostly PS5
I am
exclusives.
coming here roughshod and scary to get Africa to be the number one game in this tournament. And if it's not, Seb's face up. Oh,
yeah, good luck with that.
Africa?
In the top 32. Okay, so let's just be real here.
That ain't happening.
Maybe if we did,
that's 3 of my games gone. And it hasn't even started.
Maybe if we did the top 128, like PlayStation exclusives, it'd be on there. But we had to divvy it down for the sake of time for a podcast. So I curated the top 32.
PlayStation exclusives dropping like non-conformist in North Korea, left, right, and Chelsea here, Seb. You are not messing around.
I'm not messing around, man. You either come with it or you get the axe. That's how we roll over here. So
pick up your sticks or you double click the clicks.
Yep.
I've noticed since you started getting all the catchphrases, so I keep writing, but I haven't found a winner yet. So that's push that one.
Keep workshopping.
Dreamcast dead baby, bust baby. That's in the bin. Okay.
All right. So here's how everything's gonna work. Where I'm gonna read out a matchup. You're gonna each member of the panel, esteemed panel right now, will tell their winner of the matchup. If we have a tie, we'll just go into sudden death and we'll debate it out until we have a tiebreaker.
I will intervene in a non-George way, a serious judgmental way. I will jump off the fence and help us move that along. How's that?
That sounds great. All right. So are y'all ready?
Yep.
Gladiator's ready.
All right. So we are ready. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the battle of the PlayStation exclusives. Here we go. So, on our first list of PlayStation exclusives, our first matchup, we have Street Fighter V, which was a PlayStation exclusive, by the way, versus Persona 4 Golden.
Well, let me throw my vote in. No-brainer for me. Street Fighter, yeah, it's great. But to be fair, versus the behemoth, it's the Persona series, the depth and level of emotional storytelling involved. Persona gets my vote.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a question for me. What about you, RGT?
I haven't played any of the Persona games.
Wow.
So you're going to vote for Street Fighter? Let me tell you now.
Yeah.
Even if you did, game over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate to break it to you.
I gathered that, but I'll still say Street Fighter 5 because I have played that. So
all right, at least it got a vote. At least
it got a vote. Yeah.
That's the way I'm looking at it. You know, it got a little bit of something.
All right, the next battle, and to go on to take on Persona 4 Golden, it is Until Dawn or The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, what an absolute snake coming in there, putting those two together.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, this was a random bracket, so I just listed out the 32 games, and they just happened to like
just got the throat chop from me. So Last of Us Part 2 is
Last of Us Part 2 as well.
Until Dawn is fantastic game, but it's got to be Last of Us Part 2.
If it had gone in against Fat Princess, you know, it would have easily walked this, but versus The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
Hey, the matchups, man. Matchups matter in this kind of tournament, just like they are in a couple weeks.
This is what I wanted from this, Seb. When this idea appeared in the message box, and I was like, "Oh, there's going to be some blood on the dance floor."
There's going to be some mean gamers in our Discord, but yeah, like this is fun. The next battle is going to be Spider-Man Miles Morales versus Returnal.
Oh, for me. Miles Morales.
I'm Spider-Man Miles Morales as well. So.
Yeah, play both. It's got to be Spider-Man Miles Morales for me. Yes.
Okay, all right. So we might get a difficult one here. If Bobby was here, this might be a little more difficult. But
swading through these like corn.
Yeah, I told you we were going to go through.
I tell you, we are ruthless, absolutely ruthless.
This one, if Bobby was here, I think this would be a real fight. But this next one, Demon Souls versus Persona 5 Royal.
Oh,
I'm P5 Royal all the day.
Have you put all the variations Persona 5 in here, or you just put this in?
No.
This is the entry you've used.
The apex of the series, whatever was like the top of the series.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with that then. I really like the Royale edition as well.
I think Persona 5 is it could have been Persona 5 base, and I would have still put it over Demon Souls, if I'm being honest.
Is it the remake or is it the?
It's the remake. It's the one that looks gorgeous on PS5. It's the creme de la creme of the game, but still, I don't think it's even like it. I don't even think it compares to Persona 5 Royal. What are you, RGT? I haven't heard your vote yet.
From how fondly Persona 5 is spoken about, I haven't played it, but everything I hear every time there's people talk about RPGs or Persona, that's always Persona 5. So yeah, I'll vote Persona 5.
All right. And what will be so Persona 5 moves on. We have what will probably be the hardest out of the first initial lineup will be Uncharted: The Lost Legacy versus the whole series of Knack games. I just put them all.
I wonder. I'm gonna go. Obviously, I'm the Uncharted man. So yep, Lost Legacy for me.
All right, George.
What are you choosing, Seb?
Of course, it's gonna be Uncharted: Lost Legacy.
Then I choose Knack.
George loves Knack, don't you, George?
PlayStation need to know that someone supports this, so we get the third game. That game, once the trilogy is complete, the people will understand that they weren't emotionally intelligent enough to handle the actual full story of Knack. And I think when we get the third game, I think people will retrospectively revisit Knack 1 and 2, and they will realise it's a standout. It might even become the big daddy of them all. So hopefully, it doesn't matter what I say.
Becomes the big daddy of them all. PlayStation has fallen really far.
Do I abuse my rights and privileges here and move Knack through ahead of Uncharted?
It's too late. Uncharted's been locked. It's been locked.
Locked in. Triple locked.
Yeah. So moving on, we have an indie darling from last year, Stray, taking on Marvel's Spider-Man.
Oh. To be honest, as nice as Stray was, as sort of heartfelt as it was at times, some of the interaction mechanics in it, like the jump in and the narrative and the lack of voice acting and that other drivel, is very simish.
I like that.
Okay, well,
I like.
To be honest,
I thought it was charming.
Yeah, very. I thought it was something different, very nice, well implemented. I mean, I'm going to say Spider-Man on this, but
I was going to say, I'm
think
on like
most
my
stuff
third playthrough of that bad boy and still enjoying it. Will I
Yeah.
ever revisit Stray? Possibly, maybe, if I ever, got hypnotized to think I was a cat for an afternoon. Or if I got so wound up I really need to chill down and my house had exploded and Stray was the only surviving game on the shelf.
You're a bit harsh.
Good lord.
Yeah, that's really harsh. I think Stray against some of them others would have gone through. I think it would have gone through, but that's a tough one against Spider-Man. It's got to be Spider-Man.
What if it had been versus Knack?
Huh?
It's Stray. I would have picked Stray all day.
Stray, yeah,
Knack.
definitely.
Yeah.
You hate Knack. Stop trying to back Knack. You hate Knack.
Someone's got a back Knack.
When I said, I remember you berated me because I said, I have quite good fond memories of Knack because when I first got my daughter playing on Knack, playing together, you're like, you played that drivel and then decided to tear me off for like a black Knack.
Here's my another shot at a UCP catchphrase. Back sack and Knack wax.
That is a very wordy one, but I like it. I like it. All right, so
Back,
moving
sack,
on,
and Knack.
we have Days Gone versus The Last Guardian.
Oh, it's got to be Days Gone. As interesting as Last Guardian was, and it certainly was, an innovative way of telling a story, I lost myself in Days Gone, thoroughly enjoyed it, whether it was a point in time in my life or whatever. And I have to say, Days Gone does have a little bit of a weird blip where you need to, in a lot of these open world games, you kind of get de-skilled or you're de-skilled in the beginning and then you build skills up and or develop your bike or whatever it is. And to be honest, when you first bump into Days Gone, it's not the most easy world to navigate from the bike running out of fuel, etc. But once you get past that, it's a joy. It's an absolute joy. For me, the way I game, I loved it. Last Guardian, interesting, emotional, but Days Gone's twists and turns puts it head and shoulders for me.
All right, RGT, can I go real quick because I want to throw some spice out here because I'm going with The Last Guardian. You're the tiebreaker, RGT. I think The Last Guardian has a better story. I think it has like original concept. I think like I can look at The Last Guardian and say like I can't think of another game that did a concept very similar to that. Days Gone is just a typical zombie game that, quite frankly, isn't even the best zombie game on its own platform.
Oh wow!
That's a lot closer to me than what it was with George. Days Gone was it was a zombie game, but I've done it, with the biker gang. It's done a bit different. Nice way to go. Last Guardian, I did really like. Mainly for me, I loved that atmosphere. I loved being in the echo in the rooms. I loved the togetherness of the two characters. And it does. I'm really sorry, George. I'm going for Last Guardian.
I get the deciding vote though. So
no, he's been outvoted.
I get to overrule everything. My vote's worth 2. Fine, put Last Guardian in. See if I care.
Don't get a cob on.
No. Next time we're getting a Knack Last Guardian Stray situation, the banhammer's coming out. Whatever you're emotionally attached to is in the bin. No. You've said it now. Here's John. He's dead.
You got some. Just full transparency. I even threw the show on here just so you had that representation here.
What chance have we got against you two if it goes up against bloody
Mumsy? George is having a wobbler.
Mumsy, I don't want these coming around to play anymore.
He's throwing his Lego about, Mumsy.
Mumsy, I love it.
MLB's going to be up versus I don't even know what.
I don't know yet.
Last of Us Part 1 or something. Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
MLB.
I don't know yet.
Drivel,
I don't know yet. We'll see when we get there. But next up, we have God of War Ragnarok versus Shadow of the Colossus. I just to start off, I'm going God of War Ragnarok.
I'm gonna have to make another confession here, guys.
Oh, we got a spicy take here. Shadow of Colossus.
Don't now.
I haven't played God of War Ragnarok yet.
Oh my goodness, what have you been doing?
I was playing Harvestella.
So that means by default you've got to go with Shadow.
Yeah, I really enjoyed.
Okay, so we got Shadow of the Colossus and one for V1. George is the deciding vote.
Payback came quick.
Mumsy, George is picking on us.
Mumsy, bring me my white cat. Oh, so you want Ragnarok through, do you?
I feel like it's just me that he's being the vindictive one against.
That's
now.
a bit creepy as well.
Oh,
how much do you want it to go through?
Me and Mumsy don't have a cat, so I'll leave it up to your imagination what I'm doing right here. It's God of War Ragnarok easily, isn't it? Put it through, please. Put me out of my misery. Give me a battlefield I can fight on and have some credibility.
Yeah, I understand. Coming up next, though, is a interesting one. I'm not sure how we're going to vote on this one. It's Gran Turismo 7 versus Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection. So that's Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, by the way, for you listeners.
Hang on. Knack gets bundled into one thing.
Yeah, because both of those games equal maybe a 6 together.
Good point.
I'm like, Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection.
I'm done with this podcast.
I mean, to be fair,
I'm like a letter excusing me.
Okay.
Athlete's foot. No, something more serious. Yeah, like an ingrown. Tell him I've got a verruca. Seb knows what one of those is now. It's an ingrown. It's an ingrown foot wart. Put that down.
I forgot about that. But if I was choosing one Uncharted game, which one would I have chosen? Because each of us probably would have had our preferences for like the Uncharted game to represent the Uncharted franchise, other than Lost Legacy and Uncharted 4. So I just put all of them on, like Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 on there.
And the collection was sold as one. It was sold as
it's a bundle.
So it's that or what?
It's Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection, or Gran Turismo 7.
Easy one for me.
He's got to be Uncharted. I enjoyed Gran Turismo 7, but versus the storytelling and all the fun I've had with those other games, it has to be that.
Yeah.
All right. So
Uncharted for me. Yeah.
Uncharted is moving on. So deciding who's going to take on Uncharted in the next round, we have Sifu versus Horizon Zero Dawn.
Anyone dares to mess with my girlfriend Aloy, I will kill you.
That's 2 for me as well. I'm on Horizon's side. I like Sifu, but I also thought Sifu was way too hard and unforgiving when it first came out. So I
sort of fist Souls game, isn't it?
It is. But I think it's like, just like y'all were giving Stray, it's like flowers before y'all take that cow into the stream and beat it to death. Like, I'm doing the same thing with Sifu right now. It's like, it's a good game. It's just like, it's flawed it's a good game that's flawed.
It never really appealed to me, if I'm honest. But Horizon, and let me tell you, when I first played Horizon, I didn't click with it. But then when I revisited it, I absolutely fell in love with it. And to be honest, it's one of those games that's permanently on the hard drive, even though its story's been done 2 times over.
It's a fun world. It's so fun.
It is. It really is.
And it feels like an original concept,
Yeah, the story's fascinating, getting into the sort of old world areas and just poking around. Like, yeah, maybe over time it could overstay its welcome, but I just can't begin to detail how much fun I've had with that. And the latest, obviously, Call of the Mountain is one thing, but the Forbidden West, just from the moment it launched, I couldn't put it down. I absolutely fell in love with it. It was a great distraction, especially at the time. I loved the game. Put it through.
All right, so we got two for Horizon Zero Dawn, and it automatically goes through. The next up is, if Bobby was here, this might be a legit fight. Like, might be a real legit fight. It is Bloodborne versus Astro's Playroom.
I know I'm going to vote on this one.
I really like
Playroom.
I like them both.
Playroom. Yeah.
I'm like Astro's Playroom all day, baby. And I liked Bloodborne, but Bloodborne is I liked Bloodborne, but Astro's Playroom, like For a PlayStation gamer, felt like it felt like a anniversary game that just celebrated everything we loved about PlayStation for the last like 20 or so years. It felt like a culmination.
Bloodborne is so crunchy, so good.
He can
It's
take his crusty self
obtuse.
to the street.
It's pretty like not very pleasant to you, but once you get the crack of it, if you listen to my thoughts on it, you got to break it down into an Excel spreadsheet of timings and rewards and all that. But once you get it, it's pretty cool.
It is amazing. I think it's
equally so. I actually think I smiled way more during Astro's Playroom. So boom, let's give it a three-way dance. Okay.
All right.
Let's give it. Let's do it.
All right. So next up, Next up, RGT, I want George to go first on this because I'm reading this out and I feel like his heart is going to rip into two. I feel like it's just going to rip into half.
If this is just one big setup.
Here we go. Ladies
God.
and gentlemen, we have Death Stranding taking on Ghost of Tsushima.
I thought you were going to make it fight the show. I honestly was going to get a plane to Texas. It's a big state. I'd have found you. And I'd have killed you.
All right.
Arthur Morgan, then.
Death Stranding versus Ghost of Tsushima. What you got, George? You go on first on this one.
I love and have loved both of those games. But the one that resonated with me the most, the one that everything about it just appealed to me as a gamer on the history of where I've been with gaming. Absolutely no doubt about it. And this should be a tough call. It's Death Stranding.
Wow. All right. Here's some spicy
emotional damage.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Here's some spiciness because I'm undisputedly on the side of Ghost of Tsushima. So you're the tiebreaker, RGT.
No, I will come in hard on this one. I will override all of this.
You just sit back, young man.
I'll pull the plug out.
Have you played both of these?
We're done.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic games. I think for how unique and different it is, plus he delivers things, I'm going with Death Stranding.
Yes, I just punched my own cabinet and have actually cracked a knuckle. And
it's just that fascinating style of a game that is just so unique and a unique story and what you have to do. So I just think it's a brave
just
game
so
to make,
new
and I think
fresh.
It's very, and it's not your standard game. Where I think with Ghosts it is a bit of that third person open world. You collect things as well. Whereas I think this Death Stranding was that. This is very different, and I'll reward
so much mystique and mystery about it, and then the lore of the BTs and all of the other stuff going on, and then the flashbacks and the cutscenes that stitch those together. Really flawless bit of kit. I mean, I
can respect it. This is one where I can get it. Yeah, I can get this.
Yeah.
Now this one.
Chalk that one up. It's a win. It's a win for Death Stranding. I didn't think it was. When I heard that initially, I was like, "Oh dear, this is going to end in tears."
I thought it might, but you handled that really well. Next up,
it went through, Seb. That's why.
Next up, we have. Better now.
I'm okay, Ramsey.
Detroit Become Human versus Infamous Second Son.
As much as I like the Infamous series, and it was only that recently that I've actually dusted off and actually played all the way through Detroit. But for me, Detroit,
I like Detroit's story a lot.
Yeah, fantastic.
Was great. Some of it was a little bit obvious, twist and turn wise, but do you know what? When it all came together as one, it paid off.
Yeah, so I think we're all Detroit.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Undisputed. Yeah. Sorry, Infamous. Next up, this one might be a real hard one. It is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart 4K, baby, and versus Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
Oh yeah, watch.
Don't you dare
go down.
Don't you dare. I'm going versus Uncharted. I love Rift Apart, but I'm the Uncharted guy, so it's Uncharted for me.
All right.
You're legally obliged to say per K. And if you don't, you've kind of binned your own catchphrase.
And George, are you going Uncharted?
I'm not saying anything right now. Let's put the pressure on you for a change. Let's see Let's see you sweat.
All right. So for I'm going to be honest here. There's not a shadow of a doubt that I think Uncharted A Thief's End is a better overall game, story, and package with better characters in every sense, in every form of the fashion. But sticking true to who my character is on this show,
you're worried.
I'm going to go with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
No, don't do this.
K, baby.
Do not do this. I love you, George.
George, it's up to you. Which one goes to?
Don't let Nolan down. Look, do it for Nolan.
Let's do it by process of elimination. Has Uncharted 4 got ray tracing?
No, it doesn't have 4K.
I want to hear. I want to hear RGT answer.
Ray tracing's overrated. That's overrated. Okay. You don't need that.
Okay. Now there are animals,
George,
in Uncharted 4. But let me ask you this: did Naughty Dog go the next level and employ 4K on those animals? RGT, don't show me your shrine. That just indicates to me needs girlfriend. Okay.
Oh. Yeah, this isn't working. Please, George. George, please. Mumsy, George is being mean to
Does
me.
Uncharted 4 allow you to seamlessly rip through different universes?
And ultra high speeds with an SSD.
That sounds almost like a new catchphrase. Stop creating catchphrases because my ones aren't sticking, and you're just a catchphrase machine. Uncharted 4.
It deserves to go. So it deserves
as much
to
as
go.
4K was a nice throwaway little wander through whimsy. Uncharted 4 does an awful lot for its own franchise. Although the fact it's had 4 shots at this point, I think a little bit egregious, but it is what it is.
3 shots, right? Because Lost Legacy, Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, and Uncharted 4.
Okay, and Golden Abyss isn't going to be in this maelstrom.
No, Golden Bit. No.
Well, that was the end of the PlayStation exclusives. Who's waiting at the bottom of the drive now? Stingray, here he is. It's time for a big. Africa's not in there. Golden Abyss in there. Fat Princess in there. Pain in there.
I had to do 60. I had to do 32 of these bad boys.
Motorstorm RC Adventures in there.
Come on.
Yeah,
there's some of these. You make a good argument that I could have replaced Knack with any of those.
Africa.
But I threw Knack in here as a joke, if I'm being honest.
You ever
I knew it was going to be the lamb to the slaughter. I just didn't know what behemoth it would go up against.
No, it's not a lamb. That's a big deal.
The Knack was nothing but a Dorito advertisement.
He was doing things with polygons that no one else could possibly imagine.
Knack could have been a Dorito Super Bowl commercial and no one would have known the difference.
You best give me the next matchup.
All right. So the next matchup, God of War 2018 versus
MLB The Show.
Horizon Forbidden West.
HZFW, baby.
Yeah, same for me.
Horizon Forbidden West?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Seb looks generally shocked.
I enjoyed God of War. Do you know what? And I enjoyed its sequel. But which franchise do I enjoy more? And I'll be honest with you. I enjoy Horizon. There's times where I find that God of War, as good a game as it is, it ignores its past to champion Kratos up as this great, I just no. Horizon.
I gotta say something.
Fresh and it's new and it's doing stuff. God of War's great and everything, but If
Bobby's
you're going to
gonna be
put him in a
living.
scrap like that, you can't expect me to go down on Kratos' side. He's about
I get you. I get you. I respect that. I got to say something. In the history of my stint on the show, I thought I would never be more shocked than I was last week when we talked for 30 minutes about the toilet roll. But here I am, more shocked that God of War just got beat out by Horizon Forbidden West.
the original God of War as well, not Ragnarok, nothing like that. It versus Forbidden West. Even if we take it on face value of the scale and scope of each individual game and what it returns, you've got to imagine Forbidden West sort of tops God of War 2018 at every single marker.
Wow. I think that's a hot take, but I respect y'all for it. So God of War has gotten eliminated in the first round, ladies and gentlemen. And now
Ragnarok's through. It's also Kratos in represented in some way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm not tripping about it, but
it
does hurt. It does hurt the soul just a little bit, but but in a weird form of like instant like retribution. Our last matchup is MLB The Show versus The Last of Us Part 1.
It's like Moriarty. You schemed the whole way this comes together. It's like, I'll play him like a fish. I'll reel him in and I'll reel him out. I'll reel him in and I'll reel him out. I'll give him an opportunity to be controversial. And then I'm going to slap the taste clean upside out of his mouth. Slap! A sports game versus renowned heavy-hitting story game. Put your gaming chops around that, George. MLB The Show every time, baby. I don't give a rat's ass. Two's in. All right. Joel and Annie have had their time. Okay.
All right. So
time now, baby.
All right. So RGT, who you voting for? We got one for the show.
The Last of Us. I'm not voting for an old tin pot baseball game.
Tin pot baseball.
Perfect.
He's going.
All right, so we already know I'm going The Last of Us Part 1. So The Last of Us
get the
Part
overriding vote. MLB's going through.
You can't vote twice.
Listen, what's he going to go up against? Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West. Basically, if the two tiers go up together like that, unless the next phase is randomized, MLB The Show is going to have to face off Horizon Forbidden West. And to be fair, it will beat it. But, then it's got to go up against something like Death Stranding. The whole way, I feel like Seb all week has just sort of orchestrated this whole thing to boil down. Just knows that by process of elimination,
slowly break.
He's slowly breaking me as a man.
Chipping away at you, gently chipping away.
I want to see you cry on air, George.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You're so invested on the PlayStation exclusive side. You would have broken no matter what,
Yeah.
You would have broken no matter what. Because all the PlayStation exclusives are so good. You even had an argument for Knack here. So I'm like, you were destined. This was your destiny to be ripped apart one by one.
I wish I hadn't laid down on the Knack side of things there. Or maybe I should have put it through and then MLB could have fought Knack and it would have been a no-brainer. But
if they would have been randomized, you would have slaughtered Knack. Absolutely slaughtered Knack.
Listen, Last of Us Part 1, it's amazing. But I've had so much fun with MLB, and we've already got a Last of Us title through. I've got to say MLB.
Let's talk about it, because moving on to the next round, you have The Last of Us Part 1 versus Horizon Forbidden West. George,
which one did we put through?
Oh, Last of Us Part 1 instantly. Like RGT voted for it. I voted for Last of Us.
I didn't hear him say it. Let's rewind. I want the judge's decision. Fourth official come in.
He wants his heart broken.
Part 1.
Okay, thank you. It's like he wants his heart broken all over again, evidently RGT. So The Last of Us Part 1.
You're American as well. You're ashamed to the nation's the sport that defines America. It literally is more American than blue jean and red and white stripes. MLB, the baseball, probably older than America itself, wrapped up in the very history, the fabrication, the smell.
Still Last of Us Part 1.
The pine tar.
Still Last of Us Part 1.
The possessions, the seventh inning, everything, the organ music, everything it's become and symbolizes about the struggle in America represented within a sport that really is for everybody. You can take it at face value, or you could go deep on the stats. You can follow the story of some of these amazing players across the
none of those
history of
stories are as
America.
good as Elliot Joel, though. And here's the thing, though, like,
Yeah, the thing is, right? Their stories are like the stories of the MLB are real.
That's true.
Joel and Ellie is not real, and some of the things that have happened in baseball, they're literally unbelievable. I know that it's a bit weak to use the history of all baseball as a sport and weaponize it against a video game. But I was trying to do a hearts and minds exercise to turn you around. To be honest, I believe your heart is chiseled in stone. You're not really American. And therefore, we should move on to the next round before I say anything more controversial.
Okay. All right. Horizon Forbidden West versus The Last of Us Part 1. RGT, I want to start with you here.
Mm-hmm. For me...
Get Harvey Retro on the phone. Thing is starting up a podcast. Oh, yeah.
Before I get sacked, I'll quickly get it in. Last of Us for me, all day long.
What? See, I knew this would happen.
For the sheer story alone and the way.
George, you're up for Horizon Forbidden West versus The Last of Us Part 1. You love both of these games, man.
Forbidden West.
Okay, Forbidden West?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It's like, here's your two children. Which one do you want to slaughter? Fine, it's easy choice. I'll take Last of Us Part 1.
All right, so my vote doesn't even matter here. So moving on would be Last of Us Part 1.
That was nasty. That was nasty. That was just downright dirty.
I'm so proud of you for making that choice, though.
Big decision.
Detroit Become Human versus Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
Now, look, we're all good friends here.
No.
No, just
Detroit for me.
The
The story's more significant. It's got more to it. It's interesting. I also think that from an accessibility point of view, Uncharted is a little bit more of the old jumpy, jump around Twitch gameplay, whereas Detroit would allow a more generic and broad gamer access to gaming from a storytelling point of view. So therefore, it has to be Detroit.
Oh my goodness.
Have your ears, Nolan.
Oh my goodness. So I think one has what's your official vote?
Mine
there, RGT?
Let's face it. It says Detroit.
No. No. Uncharted 4 for me.
In a rare feat of disbelief here, I'm agreeing with George on this one.
No!
Detroit Become Human advances.
No.
Do
you know what? You got to take the small wins sometimes.
Yeah. I really like Uncharted 4, but I also know that Uncharted, the legacy, the Nathan Drake collection is up for grabs here as well. So I'm I think 3 is my favorite Uncharted game. So I think I'm going to roll with Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection. Next up, we have Astro's Playroom versus Death Stranding.
I don't care anymore.
Oh, welcome to my world. I've got my games surrounding me like corpses on a World War I battlefield.
You still got Death Stranding.
I want Death Stranding.
You still got Death Stranding
going through.
I'm Astro's Playroom right now over Death Stranding. Death Stranding versus Astro's Playroom is
you put Death Stranding through. That's how I'm pulling the plug on the whole show.
I'm Astro. What do you got, RGT? You're the deciding factor.
Death Stranding's even in Astros.
So it's come down to Astros versus Death Stranding.
Yeah, for this round.
And you can't. How can you look people in the eye and keep your credentials on air by putting Astro through over Death Stranding?
Because they're totally a celebration of all of PlayStation, man.
Yeah,
and it introduces that controller so well.
Oh, wow.
It can be played by all types of gamers.
You're putting through a tech demo.
Ooh, I would say that tech demo has more innovation than anything in Death Stranding.
Oh my God. I am literally done.
Go outside and check the mail. You've played Death Stranding.
I have. And to me, like, way more emotional journey. It's
All
a
right.
no-brainer.
I find this really tough.
Yeah, you're the
Look,
deciding
let's get off
factor.
the fence. You're going to go chasing the Astro Bot.
No,
fix.
I'm
Do
not.
it, just get it done.
No, I'm going Death Stranding because
Oh,
I loved Astro's Playroom, but George did say a bit of a thing. It is a bit of a tech demo. It's very good,
Mhm.
and it is a celebration of PlayStation. But I just think Death Stranding is so different and so unique. I think it needs to go through.
I can respect that. I can respect that.
RGT's obviously got something coming up he's nervous about and wants my buy-in. So he's like, yeah, if we club up now, it's a little
I
bit...
think
No,
I
I just want to get you Death Stranding as far as possible. Then I am dropping it.
Oh,
Oh, so I was going to say it's a little bit like a Royal Rumble where a pact gets made at the
Yeah.
start and then basically the whole drawer of cutlery is embedded in someone's spine minutes later. Okay.
No,
Fair
seriously,
enough.
seriously, I think it deserves to go through. It is that unique.
I can respect that. Here's where the fisticuffs come out. Like, this is going to be the hardest one where I feel like you two are really going to have to debate it out, because it is Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection versus Horizon Zero Dawn.
You see, dude, that collection is a collection of old games, basically.
Oh, he's already.
And they've not even bothered high-resing up the first game that much. Looks awful. And, you know, I like the PS3 aesthetic, I do. But that Uncharted collection, which is what we're debating here, was lazy, okay? It was sloppily put together.
Never been so insulted in all my life.
And also, yeah, Mrs. RGT agrees with me. She's done with this Uncharted drivel, all right? She's done with it.
How dare you?
She wants to see strong female representation in gaming, okay? And she likes robot dinosaurs. Well, she likes robot dinosaurs. Well, she likes turkey-shaped dinosaur things on her plate. So
I am
if you add these
here.
together, hang on, Seb, don't disturb a man when he's working his magic.
Okay, gotcha.
There's, you know, I will go tail out the tops and tails at Mrs. Smith's B&B in Norwich for OLL. I will take the bottom.
I have no idea what any of those words meant. Help me, RGT, and tell me.
You can take the top.
Help me at RGT really quick and tell me what you're voting for.
I'm looking at my Nathan Drake figure. He's crying at me at the moment, so I'm going for the Nathan Drake collection purely for how good those games are. They deserved to get their remaster.
Embarrassing yourself right now, friend.
And also, it's a collection. You get 3 games here. You get hours worth of play. Horizon's 1 game. Sorry, that's Uncharted for me all the way.
All right, so I think we got 1 for Zero Dawn and 1 for Uncharted. Damn, y'all really made me be the deciding vote in this.
I can overrule it though, so let's just see what happens, and we'll sculpt it to fit. I didn't abuse that path for MLB, you know, but I might abuse it here.
Just let Seb, who's a really, really nice guy, probably one of my closest friends, just let Seb decide. You don't need to try.
Wow,
that's very sweet of you, RGT.
You don't need to try and win Seb over, just because he is just one of the best people I've ever met in my life and really influential to me. So you don't need to try and win
really
him
well
over.
endowed. You know, I think he's really well endowed. Handsome, most handsome man I've ever seen. You know, he's good on the mic. He does all that good stuff. You know, he's just a great guy. You know, Texas. I would say Texas, but I think it's too small. I'd say the USA. No, that's too small. The world's greatest dude.
Oh, y'all butter me up like a biscuit right now.
That's another one. Catchphrase.
Why am I buttering him up? He's slaying my heroes left, right, and Chelsea.
Oh my goodness.
Put us out of our misery.
All right. I'm going to go with Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection.
Overruled. Okay. Move through Horizon.
Okay. All right. So next up, we have Trico, The Last Guardian versus God of War Ragnarok.
That'd be God of War Ragnarok, wouldn't it? Based on the actual...
I'm God of War Ragnarok as well, so it ain't even a question here.
I thought you were going to wade in. When you said no, I was like, what?
Yeah, Oh,
Do I get to slay Trico?
Yeah.
Pull back his feathered visage and just slit its throat right in front of Seb, watch it bleed out. Like, what do you think of that now?
No, you're gonna get your revenge coming up very shortly. I have a feeling, but yeah, God of War for me easily. Like, I think that's one of the best stories I've ever played in a video game. So, yeah, RGT, you're probably, since you haven't played God of War, I'm gonna give you the automatic vote for The Last Guardian here. Is that okay?
I would have done. Yeah.
All right, so God of War moves on to the next round, and let's see who faces God of War Ragnarok, because in this round, I think we have the hardest matchup we've gotten so far. That is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. The last representation. Oh no, never mind. I did vote Uncharted through. So it is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy versus Marvel's Spider-Man.
Oh God! Like, why is it? Why?
I love both of
What
these
did
games.
Lost Legacy beat to get to this?
Lost Legacy beat Knack. It had the easiest road so far.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why it's done. Spider-Man, it's a no-brainer. If you're sucking on your fingers trying to feign like, oh, this is a close call for me, RGT, you're done. Seb's done. Get this whole thing off the air. It's garbage.
I've seen a new side to you, George.
Moving on.
I've seen a new side to you, and I do not like it.
How many? Right, dude, if you carry on the way you're going, it's going to be Uncharted 4 versus the Nathan Drake collection versus the
Uncharted 4 got slaughtered by Detroit Become Human, remember?
Fair and proper decision. I don't want to see two Uncharted games in the final. Lost Legacy. Oh, open mouth. No. You can't do this. This is not okay.
I don't like this.
I don't think you need to be long-winded. I don't think you need to be long-winded about it, because I'm Spider-Man all the way, because I think this is the best. Like, before this was like Spider-Man was a floundering IP. This game brought Spider-Man back into the video game mainstay.
I'll be honest with you, you are right, a Spider-Man.
Thank God. Right,
yeah,
next.
I was just like, I don't think it was that
oh,
hard.
You can't do that. Oh no. It's like, get Spider-Man through. Come on.
Bumsy, George is bullying me again.
I'm gonna lose this fight right here, but
why do you call my mummy Mumsy? It's very weird.
Feels right.
Moving on, we got Persona 5 Royal versus Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Sorry, what was it? It was
Spider-Man Miles Morales versus Persona 5 Royal. So, RGT, your vote automatically goes to Spider-Man Miles Morales because you haven't played Persona 5.
Nope.
George, you've played both of these games. Where's your vote going?
Ooh.
Well, we just put Spider-Man through, and as much as Miles Morales was an interesting take with a cut-down story, which I actually think benefited the game.
Hold on, let me add some spice to this. You're the deciding vote because I'm Persona 5 Royal. So, with that information, do it with what you will.
I was spicing. I was mid KFC special spice sprinkle.
Oh, okay, my bad. Sorry.
So yes, Miles Morales cut-down version. Some would say DLC at best, slightly egregious, because I actually think the cut-down form helps it maintain a good pace from beginning to end. But versus Persona 5 of any form, it's horses for courses. There's some gamers that are going to be like absolutely sick in their hands over Persona, but I just believe that it deserves to go through versus that. Common sense dictates it's the right thing to do.
And yeah, I'm right there with you. So I got legitimately 200 hours out of Persona 5. So I'm like, I'm instantly on Persona 5 side. All right, so moving on, Persona 5 Royal. Let's see who fights Persona 5 Royal in that matchup, because next up we have Persona 4 Golden versus The Last of Us Part 2.
Last of Us Part 2.
I'm Last of Us Part 2 too.
We can't
as well.
Persona 4 versus Persona 5 in the next round, and Last of Us.
That would have been interesting, though.
Yeah, because I'd have voted for 4.
I would have voted for 5. So yeah, that would have been
no idea. So that could have been a dodgy call.
That would have been great.
Yeah. So moving on, we had The Last of Us beating Persona 4 Golden. The Last of Us Part 2 moves on, and it faces Persona 5 Royal. RGT, you're instantly voting for Last of Us Part 2 because that's the one you played, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All
one of
right,
my favorite games of all time. So yeah,
I'm just gonna be spicy and make George the deciding vote. I'm gonna go Persona 5 Royal.
So what were the choices here again?
Last of Us Part 2 versus Persona 5 Royal. You're the deciding vote.
it's a toughie.
That is a real toughie. By the way, I'm not salty either way. I love both of these games. I think both of these might be top 5 PlayStation games of all time at this point.
Playing through it at the moment, as I am, there's something about I've let that game rest since completing it back in the day, and I've come back to it most recently. And there's something about like the nuances that you didn't see the first time round. Like I know there's lots of detail in Persona. I know that, you know, but for me as a gamer, some of the way that the story's told, the interactions, the risks it takes, it's got to be Last of Us Part 2.
I can respect that. I can respect that. I will go on a limb right now and say I think Last of Us Part 2 is the best stealth game of all time. And
depends how you play it.
What's up?
Depends how you play it. There's me trying to headbutt the Rat King.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like the mechanics there, I've never seen anything like it. And I think it pushes the genre of gaming forward versus Persona 5 Royal is just another RPG. While the most straight-laced RPG you can possibly play right now, but it's just another RPG at that point.
I think that's a good point. It's a great RPG. The slick transitions, the storytelling, and everything like that do raise it up. You know, it is a great game, but versus the emotional rot of what they've actually used the Last of Us Part 1 to pay off into, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, for sure. So let's decide what meets The Last of Us Part 2 in heading towards one of the final 4, so to speak.
Knack.
We have...
Surprise.
Knack made it this far. Surprise, everybody. It's double elimination, baby. No, but seriously, it is Marvel Spider-Man versus God of War Ragnarok.
I'm going to say Marvel Spider-Man.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm God of War Ragnarok. Oh, okay, so I've been outvoted. Okay, Spider-Man.
Does whatever Kratos can't.
Evidently. All right, so
there was something about Spider in its defense. I God of War Ragnarok was an amazing story, but it was a little heavy on the emotion. Whereas Spider-Man, I'm not saying it doesn't have a story beat, but it's just quite a little bit more of a lighter game in its tone and its playability.
It is.
And certainly what could be said about the God of War reboot series and even historic is it's a very linear journey. Whereas Spider-Man, you can just live out your Spider-Man fantasy if you want to without even doing one single story mission. And for that reason alone, depth of content and accessibility, got to be Spider-Man.
I can respect that. I'm going to save my Spider-Man fight for later on. And so next up, we have Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection versus Death Stranding. Wah, wah, wah.
No one's
RGT, who are you going for?
Uncharted.
Okay. George,
What the hell's
who you going
wrong
for?
with you? Honestly.
Smug face.
This might be the most fun I've had on this podcast.
Anyone who's listening now, it's time to join the Discord. It's time to initiate a pile-on. Come to me, my German brothers. Das ist wunderbar. Wo wohnst du? Ich wohne in Norfolk. We're all going to move to Norfolk, okay? We're all going to live in an Familien house. And we're going to pour scorn on you.
The video game or like the actual score?
No, on RGT personally.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That's very mean.
Me and my German brothers, my brooders, we're going to come together and we're going to end you because it's Death Stranding.
Bring it on, Sunchild.
Death Stranding, you've made it this far. Kudos to you. You've come a long way. It's the Hobbit's tale, so to speak, for Death Stranding. But unfortunately, you got slayed at Mordor because Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, is moving on.
Meine Deutsche Bruders booked the flight to Texas.
Oh,
We've got We've got a bigger scalp here now.
All right, so let's see what meets Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection in the final four. We have Detroit Become Human, which, by the way, is the Cinderella story of this whole tournament. It shouldn't have made it this far, probably, versus The Last of Us Part 1.
Hang on, what?
Get ready for a jaw train.
So what have we got here? Just enlighten me again as to what my ears have just told my brain that it heard.
That it's the Cinderella story of this whole tournament?
Yeah, so what's versus what?
It is Detroit Become Human versus The Last of Us Part 1.
Oh, God.
Does it?
Death Stranding is gone, and we're arguing about this.
Does it have another upset up its sleeve right here?
Well, tell me how you're voting.
Me, personally? I'm The Last of Us Part 1. It's not even a question.
Me too.
How can we have Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 going through? If these end up facing each other in the final, we're done.
Yeah, but if they deserve to go through, they deserve to go through.
I mean, that's the way.
If they're good, they're good.
That's the way the cookie crumbles, man.
I knew this tournament would be dangerous. Last of Us Part 1, put it through. Put it through.
The crazy thing is like this is randomly generated. These two could have fought each other in the first round.
Absolutely no way this is randomly generated. You have sat down and thought through every nuance. If he says that, then that will happen. Then if that happens, that will put that there. And I want to see in the final, the final is going to be so egregious, formulated specifically to what angers me as a gamer, that I'm going to rage quit the show. And I think
you'll be happy.
I think you've both conspirated this.
I think you'll be happy with it.
Unless MLB got an MVP pass through to the final.
You knew darn well that MLB wasn't going to be in the final of this tournament.
Actually, do you know what? Thinking about it logically, it's the only PlayStation exclusive really to be available on every single format really possible out there right now. So in that case, for broadening gaming as a whole with a Sony franchise, MLB should win everything on this list. It should be everything because it's taking the leap into the unknown. It's daring to exist on other platforms. And equally so, bravely enough, that if you've got Games Pass, it's free of charge. Even to
You're making the argument that it didn't deserve to be on this list at all because it's not technically exclusive anymore.
I should have argued that very at the beginning, and then I could have saved its face.
Yeah, you could have. I did. I put MLB the show, meaning the whole entire franchise. So audience.
It used to be good. It's crap now. Moving on.
Before you give us the corrections, it used to be an exclusive. So we're gonna go with that. Anyways, Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection versus The Last of Us Part 1. Let's let RGT sweat this one out. These are his two babies, his mumsies, his mummies, so to speak. RGT, which one is it going to be?
I don't know.
Keep in mind, Nathan Drake is staring at you from the corner.
Listen, he sleeps with that statuette, Seb. Don't let him fool you.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. I like him.
You told me that was a mold release hole in the back of that sculpture. That something tells me looks a little bit like a wormhole to me, pal. That's all I'll say.
Okay. RGT, let's think out loud here. What direction are we leaning towards?
Gears of War.
I'm really confused because my game I really wanted to win was Uncharted 4. That's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So the Uncharted collection is fantastic, but it's not Uncharted 4. But then Last of Us is just something. I'm gonna have to vote Last of Us.
I'm Last of Us as well. I respect you, RGT, for having to come to terms with that internally, though.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give me a minute.
Yeah. Or George,
Next.
which one were you gonna vote?
It'd be Last of Us, wouldn't it? Actually, I think it was Uncharted.
Yeah.
He is the Joker right now. He's just creating anarchy.
He takes pleasure in seeing my pain. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The master manipulator.
You could have had Uncharted through, man. That's crazy. All right.
No, I
so-
still-
What was I thinking?
yeah.
Yeah, no, Last of Us, that should go through. Last of Us.
Yeah, I understand. So let's see what'll meet it in the finals. What is going to be the top 2 PlayStation franchise?
Well, it's Last of Us 1 and 2, isn't it? Right now, from what I've lost count, but
It is right now. The final 3 right now. Last of Us Part 1 is in the finals right now, but to see which games are going to meet it, we have Last of Us Part 2 versus Marvel's Spider-Man.
Oh, come on.
Oh, dear me.
Just to make sure that the show isn't left off air, we've got to put Spider-Man through.
Why?
You can't have a final where Last of Us fights Last of Us.
We can. That's
Why
how
not?
good the games
Why
are.
not? That's how good.
If they get there, they get there. That's Last of Us Part 2 for me.
Right, from an
Ooh.
accessibility point of view, from being able to access all ages and demographics, to be able, as you know, and my love for the games is undisputed, but Spider-Man, from a sales point of view as well, wipes the floor with this game.
We're not talking about sales here. We're
We're
talking
talking
about
about
which
how
one's
good
the
the
better
game is.
game, though.
I'm trying to stack it all up, and I actually think that Spider-Man could win this. And I think it deserves to go through to the finals and mix it up a little bit, if I'm being honest. If it was down to storyline and all that, then I mean, have you forgotten the climactic skyscraper fight? That wasn't for nothing. The emotional character that was developed between Doc Ock and Spidey that came to, although it was obvious, if you know your Spider-Man history, the payoff at the end of that game was real. When
The payoff
Spider-Man,
between Abby and Ellie, though. Oh my
Mm.
goodness!
I've
When
never
they're
had a
fighting each other?
game made me think like Last of Us Part 2 has.
don't
Oh,
say,
my
because I'm trying to
goodness.
make this spicy.
Well, no,
I'm gonna be real with you here, George. Like,
Put Last of Us Part 2 through, but now I just can't sit down comfortably because we're going to argue about which is the better Last of Us game.
I'm voting for
Oh, it's
Spider-Man.
brilliant.
Oh,
I'm voting Spider-Man
tactical
Really?
voting. I'm going to vote Spider-Man as well. Push it through.
because here's the reason why RGT before you think I'm just being spicy for spicy's sake. I think Spider-Man had a moment that I've never experienced in any Spider-Man lore before, and I'm a comic book fan. Right now, I'm wearing a MCU like a original comic book short like T-shirt right now. Like the fact that they went like spoilers for Spider-Man like 5 years later, but like the fact that they did like that twist with Aunt May, like I never got hit like that in a Spider-Man story before. And I felt like the fact that the final things that like she tells Peter at the end of the game are like moving, extremely moving. It hit me out of nowhere. So I'm like, I think that surprise factor. I also like the aspects to where like that game is permanently on all of our PlayStations because it is so fun to just swing around New York City. They mastered a game mechanic to its fullest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they did. And I think if Spider-Man had faced nearly any other game on this list that would have gone through, apart from Last of Us Part 2 for me, because I think that is the games can be emotional and games can really tell you a story, but I've never known, including Spider-Man, which is a brilliant story, I've never known a game like Last of Us Part 2 to tell a story that well, to have you involved in it, and to make you do things that technically most games will make you do things you want to do. Last of Us Part 2 makes you do things you don't want to do to tell you that story. And I think that's quite unique. And that's why I still think it is one of the greatest games ever made.
It's
but
frustrating because
it's tough because Spider-Man is absolutely fantastic game. Hence, I'm still playing it.
All right.
I'll be inclined to say that Part 2 could beat Part 1 out, really, depending on which version we're talking about. But
George, you're the deciding vote.
Yeah, I want to put Spider-Man through. I think it's the right thing to do.
All right. Spider-Man goes through in a very narrow vote. And so in the finals, we have The Last of Us Part 1.
Can you do one of your famous buffering drum rolls?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Someone who knows what they're doing. RGT, you know someone who knows what they're doing with music. They need to take the perfect
Yeah,
which I don't think I was saying perfect. I think I was saying like clove of garlic, but you all heard it as perfect. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard it as perfect. Yeah, over and over again.
Yeah, I don't think it was that. I was talking about Big Juicy Melons, the video game. I don't really think that perfect was the word I'd be using.
You're lucky it didn't get stuck on melons.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we got in the final then? Your drum roll's done. Turned into a
Marvel
beatbox.
Spider-Man versus The Last of Us Part 1.
I mean, here's my hot take for what it's worth. And I know it isn't worth much. Last of Us Part 1 was a very, very... You got to look at it through the lens of the late PS3 era. It had been downtrodden, that console. It had been leaned on. It was a little bit of a underdog. And then right in the end of its life, after all the exclusives roadmap, they put out Last of Us.
It saved the PS3.
It was one of the deciding factors that kind of inched it ahead of 360 for sure. And it was certainly a game that captured everyone's attention. That story, so compelling and so interesting, has actually hooked non-gamers in to an HBO show that by rights on paper had no chance, really, in the wave of movie and TV cash-ins over the years. It really probably could have boiled down to a derivative mess. The fact that it hasn't done that and people are picking up PS5s in droves speaks such strong words to The Last of Us Part 1's initial story. Great.
And really I also think as well, I say most, not all, but most TV or film adaptations of video games don't work. The Last of Us has worked because the story is that good in that game. It transits over to TV really well. That's how good that story is in that game, that people are now loving the TV show that much, I think. That's so well written. Neil Druckmann is an absolute genius at writing.
But
masterclass.
Equally so, it's up against Spider-Man.
Yes.
A game that's for all ages. A game that's sold incredibly well. A game that's reviewed well. A game with a story that's strong and impactful, albeit in a superhero style telling, which does make it probably a little bit more bubblegum versus Last of Us Part 1. But as much as I love Spider-Man for its playability and the fact that you can just hop on and muck around, gives you a world to play with, Last of Us is the better game.
Yeah, I think for Spider-Man, you think how many superhero games we've had. I think Spider-Man stands head and shoulders above anyone. What Insomniac done with that game is fantastic. And like Seb was saying earlier, for me anyway, the swinging through the cities is spot on. The story, the city itself, it's so well paced, that game. I think it's brilliant. I didn't find, yes, it is your side missions are side missions, like you get in the other games, but I never found them boring. I found them a challenge. I found them brilliant. I love the story, and I'm not a superhero fan. But that game, I think, is absolutely phenomenal. So I think it is very, very close, this vote, I think. They're two different genres, but both carried out very, very well. Both are at the top of their game in their genre, I think. But for me, my vote will have to be The Last of Us.
Okay. So by proxy, Last of Us automatically wins. So shout outs to Last of Us. I was going to say Last of Us as well. The reason being is because I think The Last of Us Part 1 or at least The Last of Us in general, is a perfect video game. From beginning to end, the storytelling, the pacing, everything about it is a perfect video game. Versus Spider-Man has side quests to this day that irk me. I cannot fathom why they put the Mary Jane stealth missions in that game. I don't know how that got through.
Even to the point of some of the
pigeon hunting. Oh,
that I don't find so egregious, but some of the challenges I don't enjoy.
I think for me,
Taskmaster challenges, I feel, and the same thing in Miles Morales when you have that other character, the one that the girl who gives you all the challenges. You know, I don't like oddball, screwball.
Screwball, that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, you know, much the same. And that's where it starts to run a little bit dry. A little bit
I think you get a lot of games with the side missions, like, you know, you have the games that you Assassin's Creed and bits and pieces, or even Hogwarts Legacy, you know, oh, I've dropped this by the river, can you go and get it? You go and get it and come back. What I liked about Spider-Man is they use the Spider-Man techniques in, you know, like I know it's catching pigeons, that sounds silly, but you're using the swing through the city. You're using what he does best on a side mission. You're not just going to pick something up from the water and take it back. You have to actually swing and capture pigeons. And if anything, it helps you actually get better at the game. That's what I liked about it. It uses the game engine, you know, and what is best at in those side missions.
It does actually, you know, by the time you finish Spider-Man, I think we're talking about a game here that's just lost, but it allows you to become so adept with the controls by teaching you so gently over the entirety of the game that by the end of it, you're an absolute boss.
Yeah.
You are.
But and that skill fade does not exist. You can hop back on that after 6 months and you can still do 100 combo. You can still smash the guys into the ground easy peasy. It's that rewarding and fulfilling. But, you know, I'm down. I'm down.
But let's be honest, though. Speaking of boss fights, like, I think they kind of butchered the pacing a bit by introducing the Sinister Six in this or that, like in the one single game. And I don't think they did a really good job at fleshing out any of those villains. It was just felt like they were just put in for like the sake of putting all those villains in. And I'm like, the Vulture fight in that game, not the Vulture and Shocker dynamic fight wasn't really that good. The Shocker fight in the bank is bad. And the boss fight of that is just overall bad. And it's like, I don't think they did a good job with their villains in the game outside of Negative and Doc Ock and Tombstone. Tombstone is a really good villain in that game as well. Like Tombstone missing, but like I can look at flaws of Spider-Man and say like, oh, that they probably should have let that cook a little bit more, or like, oh, that probably should have been tested out, and like they probably should have left that on the cutting room floor. There's like a good 30% of that game where you can cut out the fat and have like a perfect video game there. And The Last of Us pacing, the story, the gameplay, everything about it is like that perfect video game. Even though The Last of Us Part 2 has better gameplay elements, The Last of Us Part 1 is just like amazing. It is to this day, you can put someone who hasn't really played a video game on the couch and they'd be enthralled with that story and that game. Versus Spider-Man, it's sure all audiences can't play that game, but like there's going to be people that look at that like, oh, that's just another superhero game and like superhero story that they might not be into, you know?
Yeah.
And to be honest, that story goes it has a three arc kind of dynamic, and that third arc is completely different than that first arc. And they kind of like, if you really think about it, don't really fit very well together. Well, like the fact that all that's like the whole city is basically poisoned in the third arc. And you still have all these elements of criminals still doing crimes without wearing like any sort of mask or anything, or being affected by the poison that is affecting the rest of the city. Like there's some holes that you can poke into that story versus The Last of Us, where like it feels like a very concise, well thought out project. So yeah, I think The Last of Us is an amazing game. I think both of these are amazing games.
To be honest, I can't wait to see like a compilation of Last of Us 1 and 2, but with the UCP recommendation on the front of it. I see it happening.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a good tournament though, well, gents. What do you think about it?
I really enjoyed that. I think we would need one for Nintendo. We need one for Xbox. It'd be nice.
Already got it made.
It'd be nice to see a UCP ranking of all the exclusives, and be interesting to see how we settle down on the Xbox and Nintendo side of the field. So Nintendo one might take a while, Seb. Depends how far back you're going to go.
I have an idea for that one. I think we might do the Nintendo one. And like, even though I have a bracket already made, I kind of think we might need to do it the same way we do our Game of the Year awards, where we look at, I can give y'all a list of all the like Nintendo exclusives, and y'all rank y'all's top 10.
I think that would be, that would be interesting.
Good idea, yeah.
And if we do them all slightly differently as well, I think that would be fun. But
The tournament could be interesting though, because like imagine Breath of the Wild going up against like Mario 64 in the first round.
I'd be absolutely cutthroat in that Nintendo one. There'd be scalps left, right, in Chelsea. I'd take no quarter whatsoever.
Or Super Mario 3 versus Breath of the Wild in the first round. Oh man, the tournament has such a good like
Breath of the Wild is flushed. Done.
See RGT's face right now. We need to do the tournament one. The content is there, man.
Next week, Ninty show. Okay, that's all well and done. Seb, thank you for organising that. A little bit like the Vince McMahon of the show. You've orchestrated the King of the Ring tournament, and it's
well done, Seb. Brilliant.
A few tears, a little bit of upset. Some would say quality won out in the end, and you'd be wrong because Knack didn't get there, and Death Stranding was scalp on the ground. So was Horizon. Detroit Become Human. Throat chop. Days gone. MLB fallen at the first hurdle. I mean, to be honest, I've been involved in dirty bar fights over a bag of salt and vinegar crisps and a spilled shandy over lesser egregious things. But it is what it is. A man who's not scared of a bar fight or some cheap salt and vinegar crisps is Stingray, and he's here. It's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingray's boot, what's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy of Battlefriend All this week. These are new release highlights for week March 13th to March 19th, 2023. Listeners, these are out in digital, physical, or will be by the time this podcast in your feed, but could be region dependent. Steady on, Ray. Now, I don't know how you're seeing Ray today, but I'm seeing him as Wayne Porter Bridges. And if I look closely at his chest, he's regrowing an embryonic Wayne Ray in his Bridge Baby jar. Okay?
Because you make him sound like the Rat King.
He's a little bit more than that. I don't know what he is. He's impregnated himself and had another Wayne Ray. Trace wasn't involved. That's why he's growing in a jar. Much like Ray, though, he's the Audi version of everything. He's just in a dirty blue anorak. And that what looked like a Bridge Baby jar is actually one of those small bio-orb fish tanks filled with what looks like gherkin juice. And then lit with a very cheap Poundland LED light that's been on 30 seconds and already faded to barely registerable on the back of my retinas. But I get the vibe, okay? And he's here to fight for the lost PlayStation exclusives. Seb, pray tell, how are you seeing the Ray?
The Ray, I see him like I always do, upside down bowling pin shaped man wearing a Vince McMahon like style like suit, and he's just walking around behind me, just doing like the Vince McMahon walk, where he's kind of like flapping his arms as he's kind of walking around. And wow. I don't know why he is. I think he's just feeling the power right now. That is the Ray right now, but he's looking on at our PlayStation. He's kind of muttering to himself about our PlayStation exclusive bracket that we just did, our tournament, and you know, he's a little disappointed that I didn't include certain games in this tournament right now, but, you know, it is what it is.
I understand why you didn't do that, because if you put Africa in, it would have won. And I know that the credibility of the show would be questioned if a Safari photographing game had actually become nailed as a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, he's mad I didn't put the cult classic known as Toomba in this game right now.
I'm upset that, you know, Ghost Hunter's not in there. Primal. The Getaway.
At this point, I might as well put Gex and Blasto in here as well.
Yeah, get him in. Get him in. Where's Jumping Flash? Where's Legend of Dragoon?
Ugh.
Where's Infamous 2, bare minimum?
I should have just did the Infamous series. Let's just put it like that. And it still would have got knocked down in the first round, because it still would have got knocked down in the first round. Let's be honest here.
Last of Us. Wow. Okay. Infamous.
Infamous could have. The whole series could have replaced Second Son in our first round against Detroit Become Human, and Detroit Become Human probably would have still won that matchup.
No.
RGT, what do you think?
Detroit.
Now, I'm telling you, Detroit Become Human.
How are you seeing the rage? Get on with it now.
Well, I think Ray already know who was going to win this tournament, because he's dressed as a he's dressed as a very, very thinning Joel, and Wayne is a very little
Wayne
and
is
very
Ellie.
little Ellie. And he's got Ellie's wig on. He's got.
That's so great.
He's even got a little shiv in his back pocket.
He looks good.
Yeah.
George, how are you seeing the Ray?
Like I say, Wayne Porter Bridges, he's rocked up with his bridge babe, like Ray Porter Bridges. He's rocked up with Wayne on his chest and in gherkin juice, and that's that.
Is he doing anything special though? That's what I'm curious about.
He's just
Does he have a
skulking
shiv?
To be honest, he's skulking around. He's got what looks like a biohazard container with the words Knack on it. Now, you see, Knack, if you've played the game, is a weapon.
Mhm.
And he can even be at molecular level. And what I'm kind of wanting to do is to pop the catches on either side of the biohazard kit, open it up, and let Knack run wild over you two. He would literally go subatomic, go in through your nose, burst out, absorb yourself into himself, and then perform the same move on RGT while patting me on my back and saying, you know the difference between a good exclusive and a bad exclusive. You're all right.
You know, I just realized Knack is just a bootleg Kirby.
Oh my God.
I just realized that.
I don't know why I die on the hill for Knack all the time. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
I'm wasting my space. Let's dive in. Rough Justice 84 on the PC, March 13th. Get out of the way, Ray. I'm having this. Do what it takes to make your fledgling security agency thrive in this 80s noir, crime-busted, dirty crossing, vengeance-seeking board game-inspired strategy game with dice and cards.
Escape from the Red Planet PC, March 14th. Escape from the Red Planet simplifies resource management, tower defense, and first-person mechanics into a singular arcade experience. On the latest mission to Mars, the Orion 3 crash landed with Martian attacks looming. Houston most definitely has a problem.
Also coming out on March 14th, you have The Forest Cathedral for PC and the Xbox Series X. The Forest Cathedral is a first-person environmental thriller set on a remote island. Play as a scientist, Rachel Carson. Players will slowly uncover the effects of the DDT. Oh, she's a pro wrestler? By using an advanced environmental technology to solve 2D/3D connected puzzles in this dramatic reimagining of the Silent Spring. Sorry for the pause there. It's just the DDT is a wrestling move.
No, DDT is named after DDT is a wrestling move named after a very strong weed killer used in the 50s, 60s, maybe even into the early 70s America. DDT is a very, very nasty weed killer.
Oh, okay.
Which was co-opted to be used as a very deadly wrestling move.
I think I remember Jake the Snake Roberts telling us about the origins of how he got the DDT, and I remember that in the biography.
You're a Texan farmer, you told me last week. Surely you've got like a shed down at the bottom of the 100-acre with full of DDT still.
I've retired my farming life. Like after a couple of chickens came after me, I decided it was enough for me.
Come to me, farming simulator. Give me the perfect map and some silage.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're hearing this and you want George to sing the Farm Simulator theme song, hit us up. We will
I need to write
take
it
that
first, but there you go.
We would gladly do that for you. Next up, George, what you going?
I'm going to pull out this absolute banger. It's Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure on the PC, PS4, and Switch, March 14th. The special support section with more members and more cases to solve. How will this ragtag group deal with the oncoming threats to Crossbell's political stability while maintaining the team's foundation?
I'm not saying that. That might be my mummy, that one.
It's a JRPG, baby. Bring it.
Yeah, ever since Harvestella, I'm a new man.
RGT, what's next?
Valheim, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, March 14th, a brutal exploration survival game for 1 to 10 players. set in a procedurally generated purgatory inspired by Viking culture. Battle, build, and conquer your way to a saga worthy of Odin's patronage.
This next one, it's my mummy.
I thought that would be.
Although the one after is also, I don't know if you guys have seen it, and I think, Seb, you need to reach out and get a code for the old Steam Deck for this, because I think you'd like that.
Well, you talking about River Tales?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who's taking Dark Pictures?
I want the last one. I think I'm gonna read that one in a funny voice.
Okay, well, I'll do Dark Pictures then,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can end out in that way. So, Dark Pictures Switchback VR, PSVR 2. Let's make it my mummy, March 16th. Experience the thrill of the most nightmarish and horrifying VR roller coaster ride you've ever seen. Enhanced by the unique and innovative features of PSVR 2, and all set inside the sinister and terrifying world of the Dark Pictures franchise. Now, their first PSVR 1 game, which was again a VR roller coaster ride, was pretty cool. I didn't play the Patient, the second one, but this looks like a return to form. Quite exciting. So yeah, it's my mumsy.
Right, then we've got River Tales, Stronger Together, PC, March 16th. River Tales, Stronger Together is a 3D cooperative adventure platformer designed around an George, help.
Asymmetrical.
There we go. What he said, asymmetrical co-op system. Teammates must work together to defeat end-of-level bosses and solve puzzles across a range of natural world environments. That does sound good, that. Sounds good, that.
You like that one?
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the millions and millions of the UCP fans around the world, we have WWE 2K23. No, you're rolling, shut your mouth, jabronis, because this game is coming to you for the PC, the PS5, the Xbox Series X, the PS4, and the Xbone on March 17th. All the way to you from around the world. This is WWE 2K23. Is even stronger with expanded features, gorgeous graphics, and a deep roster of WWE superstars and legends, brother. 2K y'all made me laugh. Stop it. 2K showcases returns as an interactive sports documentary featuring the 20-year career of John Cena and War Games is finally here. Y'all made me laugh. Y'all made me kill the bit here.
I thought you were going to say an interactive squirts documentary. I was like, oh, Seb, you've veered well off course here, pal. But you pulled it back together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, interesting mix. Not that busy, but I think it's a wide range of games. Thank you, Ray, for bringing them down. Nice selection, Ray. Okay. Wayne Porter Bridges. That's what I'm talking about. Keep on
for the
keeping
millions.
on. We need to pick a Mummy DVD stroke VHS before we let Ray go. Seb, what's your Mummy VHS pick for the week, or bootleg DVD, whichever you want it to be, friend?
All right. And keeping up with the tradition of everything that's going on right now, I think I'm going to pick I think I'm going to pick WWE Backlash 2000, the pay-per-view. Just because I'm feeling in the spirit right now of the WWE kind of things. This pay-per-view had it all. It had The Rock versus Triple H in the main event with you didn't know if Stone Cold was going to be there. This dude pops out. The crowd goes wild. He bashes everyone over the head with the steel chair. The Rock wins over Triple H. It was an amazing event. You should definitely check it out.
I will. In fact, I do believe I've seen it. And Ray has such an amazing catalogue of historic WWE pay-per-views in his boot that you'd think he wouldn't have space for anything else. RGT, what's your Mummy VHS pick?
I just spoke about zombies quite a lot. I think I'm going to go for the Day of the Dead. I feel like a bit of a zombie movie night tonight. So yeah, that'll go for me. Mrs. RGT, little cuddle, bit of popcorn.
Y'all aren't going to watch the Last of Us finale tonight?
No, I watch that with some friends during the week. We'll get together one night and watch it. Yeah, so yeah, looking forward to that. But yeah, so just to get me in the mood, Day of the Dead.
George, what's your boot? Your mumsy.
The original Blues Brothers. Jake and Elwood's tour across of America to raise money, save the orphanage they grew up in, culminating in a massive rhythm and blues show. And then the ensuing cop chase as they go to file their tax returns, I believe. Great movie, a little bit of fun. Everyone's happy with that. If you haven't seen it, thoroughly recommend it. Can't say enough good stuff about that movie. It's one of those things that you see as a kid, you hear the swear words and the car chases and you think that's great. But then as an adult, you hear some of the other jokes and you're like, yeah, it's an absolute banger. So that's that. And with that, I turn
and
around.
even more so that Soul Man song, man. Oh,
Right.
Is that in Blues Brothers
Soul
1?
Man.
Yeah, I think that is, isn't it?
I thought that was one, right?
Community corrections.
Community corrections, let us know.
Oh, can I just
heads
add
on
as
a
well?
plate.
Sorry to change the subject a bit, but anyone, as I've been doing my hidden gems, I've been doing a lot of more disc-based games, haven't I? Does anyone, just sound in Discord, or if you haven't joined Discord, jump on. If you want me to do older stuff, if you want me to do some hidden gems, cartridges, Mega Drive, SNES, let me know. If you want me to go that far back.
Africa on the PS3.
Well, yeah, we're not. Yeah, whatever. You aren't going to pick that up for under $10. We need to keep some value in it.
Fine.
Yeah. Yeah, so if anyone wants me to go even older, go right back, I can do, any old cartridge games, right back, even NES, Atari 7800, if you want me to even go that far. So, arcade.
God.
If you got MAME, I can probably find you some games on there. But yeah, just let me know. Jump in the Discord, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, looking around, all I see is some black sludge on the floor. I guess Ray got caught by the BTs, baby. Couldn't have been that good for him. I didn't even hear Wayne Ray whimper, so we might not even see both of those next week because there ain't no coming back from the BTs, baby. With all that said and done, everybody knows, and Odders, as a grown man, has got himself crammed in that little Tykes car I mentioned at the top of the show, and I think he's going to have to get cut out by the Farmerton fire station. Who would have thought that from a plastic toy? Keep it together just for 1 minute, Odders. Twist that fake toy radio up a little bit. Let's ask these gentlemen, what are you hoping to play? And we'll go to RGT for a starter for 10. What are you hoping to play this gaming week, friend?
Be some more Legacy. Hopefully, I'm sort of mainline a bit now, so hopefully going to get that done and dusted. I was doing a lot of side missions, but I've actually got to the stage I'm quite enjoying the story, so I'm just going to mainline it and get that done, I think. I've got a serious backlog of games which I need to be getting on with. I have also, because I've only dabbled with the Mass Effect games in the past. I've never played them through. Yeah. So I've downloaded is it the Legendary Edition?
Yeah, Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
We got that. We got that on PS Plus, didn't we? So I've downloaded that ready, and I've also got my Mass Effect strategy guide, and Mass Effect 2 and 3 strategy guides ready.
Oh, you're gonna need it on 2. You're gonna need it on 2.
I think I'm gonna go deep into those. I think after Legacy, I'm really looking forward to playing those. So yeah, that's probably what they're going to be the main ones for this week, I think.
Okay, Seb, what are you going to? What are your fingers going to tickle across that controller with this week?
Man, I'm gonna be busy. We I'm swamped with reviews on redacted, but like I got a lot of reviews coming up. I am going to be playing a lot of Doomed to Hell. Though that game is absolutely amazing and it has its hooks into me right now. I'm gonna do the same thing as y'all, try to polish off a couple of the last like final side missions in Hogwarts Legacy, and then I will probably be playing a little bit of the WWE 2K23. I can give you my impressions on it next week. I've gotten to a point where I think I've hit the wall on Wulong Fallen Dynasty, though, so I don't think I'm going to play that anymore. But
you're done with it? What made you think that you were done with it? Is it the gameplay style? Is it the difficulty level? Is it the controls? What is it that's caused you to fall off?
A little bit of everything. I think what really caused me to fall off is like the characters and the story really aren't very interesting. You know, even though it is more of a linear like experience than a traditional FromSoft game, this game still doesn't really have a great story. It almost feels like an anime where they forgot the story. It's just like where they do like a lot of like cool over the top anime cutscenes, and they really don't flesh out a lot of the characters around it. because like a lot of these characters fit that stereotypical like almost like anime tropes where you have like a large guy who's larger than life, a large guy who's like extremely meek. You have like a couple of anime girls in there as well. It's like, but none of it feels like it has like a substance behind it. And then the game kind of like takes a extreme, like it dips in between like highs and lows of difficulty. Like when you're playing just outside of anything other than the boss fights, everything feels almost relatively like easy and simple. But like you get to the boss fight, that difficulty spikes is egregiously like high. So I'm like, I don't think this is a game that is a well polished experience of a 10 out of 10 or even like a 8 out of 10. I think this is a straight 7. But for people who like the FromSoft games, I think you'll enjoy this. But yeah, I'm doing that, and then I have a couple of creator interviews for the single player experience. Where like recently I interviewed the first civilian to test basically a play tester behind the Xbox Series X, and what it was like for him to be like his first day on the job of like playing the Xbox Series X before it came out to like public consumption. So that's like cool. yeah, so
very cool.
Yeah, so I have that interview coming up this week. You can look forward to it. I believe this Wednesday. But like, but like he and I also played a couple of games, and we do a deep dive discussion as well that comes out this Thursday as well. So
I hope one of those games was like Rise.
Yeah, no. We talk about some of the Xbox exclusives that came out like immediately as the Xbox and the Xbox like 360 came out and the Xbox One came out. So it was like it's almost like an Xbox show, so to speak, where we talk about some of the Xbox exclusives that people were sleeping on. But
if you want a quick round robin on the history of Xbox, Seb, you need to go check out the history of the original Xbox, where me and Bobby time traveled to the actual launch in Times Square. Probably one of the best episodes that this show has ever done.
Yeah, brilliant show.
Yeah.
You need to play him that.
I like that.
Serenade him from the bedside. Stroke his hair, play that, let him fall asleep. Knowing the history of this show, he'd be asleep before the title's even finished. He'd be done. Narcolepsy in podcast form. Unbelievable. There's how you build up a show, and you smash a show down in seconds.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so everyone go check out Seb's work. You know where he is.
Yeah, the Single Player Experience podcast. You can check me out there, and I'm going to be posting some of the indie game recommendations in the Discord, so be on the lookout for that.
That's what we want to see. That's the main event. That's the ticket. That's the adding value to the Discord that they can't get anywhere else. RGT, obviously, some of your nip slip picks. Where can they find you?
Find me I'm on Instagram as Retro Gamer Thomas.
Nip slip picks.
Yeah.
I just caught that.
Technically, they'll be disappointed if they're looking for my nip slip picks. They will just find hidden gems. George is gone.
Your nip slip picks are the hidden gems, RGT.
Yeah. So,
well, that's the thing about a nip slip. That covert you don't even know. I don't even know anymore. That didn't make it.
But yeah, jump on if you haven't come on the Discord, jump on the Discord because I've listed all my hidden gems on there. There's mini reviews of each game's price guide. Yeah, so every one I do on the show, they'll all be listed there. And yeah, just come on, jump on, come chat to us, come chat the brilliant community we got on there. And yeah, just a fun place to be.
I'll keep working through my mismatch of games. God knows whatever takes my fancy this afternoon. It might be some PS3. It might be some VR. Who even knows anymore?
Africa.
It's going to be a simulator, everyone.
It's going to be Farming Simulator just to let me chill down a little bit, get in the international, set it on cruise. Oh, listen to some Florida Georgia Line. There isn't really...
Obviously, Deb Babs.
Pop in, see Deb's Babs.
Have a DP.
Yeah, grab the Dolly Parton CD off the shelf. Perfect. Couldn't ask for much more. And probably on that note, before we delve too deep into DP territory, I should say that's all we have time for this week. Listeners, as always, thank you for your time. I look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. And remember, there's nothing wrong with being given an official controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.